Eyes in the sky, gazing far into the night. I raise my hand to the fire, but it's no use, 'cause you can't stop it from shining through. It's true, if you believe it's true. Baby, won't you let the light shine through for you, 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 won't you let the light shine through? In the sky, gazing far into the night. I raise my hand to the fire.
So, once again, yep, sorry about that. Restart, I don't know what happened. Why is he doing it again? Just a straightforward mic settings. always never changed it. But anyway, everyone, welcome back. It could not have started any worse, but we're hoping that it will end a lot better than this. Now, it will be, once again, as I say, the showdown to the final, and it will be very much down to for Shaun Murphy to try and win his second world crown, and Yize still trying to challenge it for the title number 1. Is he going to be Team China for the second consecutive year, or is he going to be Shaun Murphy to try and prove it very much that he was the 22-year-old in 2005, and he's still going to be able to do it 24 years later? Well, it's going to be a hell of a story for Shaun Murphy, as he's still looking to try and become certainly only the 7th player to have won it at the Crucible for more than a single time. Now, Yize is going to try and make his way for the biggest session of his life. We were saying this about every single match that he's played at the Crucible, but let's very quickly go through what the players have had to experience over the past 17 days. Yize managed to beat League Bay Fan and be among the 3 most confident first round winners of Mark Selby himself and Ronnie O'Sullivan. Then it was a very tough match against Selby himself in the second round. 13-11 he managed to beat the 4-time world champion. Then against the Iranian of Hussein Wafai, he said it was like playing a computer game against Yize, 13 frames to 8. Then the most incredible and the most dramatic match that I've personally ever seen, that did surpass Karen Wilson against Anthony McGill of the semis of 6 years ago against Mark Allen, that had a black to make it down into the 32nd frame. Couldn't make it, but in the end it decided, was still 47 points down and able to come back stronger. Now, I want the title back in the UK. We'll have to wait and see. 18-17 Murphy's the prediction for me. I would go 18-6 for Murphy. I feel like this is going to be the man to try and win it, and what a run he's had. 3 Chinese players he's managed to beat, and defeating John Higgins in the semi-final as well. Started off with such a difficult run against Fan Jingyi, managed to win that one by 10 frames to 9, and still that fantastic clearance that he said was one of the best, if not the best, that he's ever had at the Crucible. Well, that certainly got him a ticket to try and challenge it for Yize for the final. But of course, it was down to a really good 2-session match against Algodon. Managed to win that one with a session to spare against the world number 10 at that point. But now, of course, Murphy, he's still going to be looking to try and inflict the Crucible curse on Xiaoxington, until he did it in brilliant style in that 3rd session. It looked like the match was going to be very much heading for a decider until it was a 13-10 win, and now will be very much down to a great opportunity for Shaun Murphy to try and make it into the final against John Higgins. And guess what? He does it again. Beats John Higgins despite being so many frames down. 11-13 down, 15-13 down, manages to win 4 incredible frames in a row, leaves Higgins speechless, and he's going to be marching towards the final. Then the first session was close. The second session was a little bit in favour of Yize, but now the 3rd session has seen all loads of comebacks. Now it all comes down to the 4th session. Could be 5 more frames, could be 10 more frames to see. For now, it is Shaun Murphy to take us underway in frame number 26. Has Shaun got enough stamina is the question. Well, I'll tell you what, if you're talking that about Shaun Murphy, well, he doesn't have the stamina for the first shot there. The break-off, is it going to be a bit of a thing that will turn out to be a problem? And, well, has he gone a little bit too soon on the break-off shot? He's left the red to be taken into the left corner. Usually, those ones are not going to be missed, but this time around, once again, anything right now is going to be a little bit of a test and potentially a sign of things to come. Yize misses out on that red, despite managing to play that cue ball really nicely to the top end of the table. Now, he's left the red himself for Shaun Murphy to be taken. So straight away, early nerves, and 2 of the opening shots have not been played well. The break-off shot by Murphy wasn't to the highest standard, but then, of course, he wasn't able to be punished for it as well. Now then, a chance for Shaun Murphy to try and take that red away into the corner. This time, he'll be making that red in, but it seems like the cue ball will go into the point where it'll be very difficult to try and pot the brown and still get himself lined up for the bottom half of the table with all those reds to be available. So Murphy's not going to take any chances, and he's just going to carefully do the Peter Ebdon shot and roll that cue ball in behind the green. Very much coaching. Well taught out there, you can see. But on a serious point, of course, he didn't have a chance to be accelerating that cue ball so far away onto the ball cushion, and very much Judd Trump type of a shot needed. So plenty of cue power that he would have had to try and put behind that shot. And the thing about, trying to put the cue ball behind the green, of course, is that you do have a couple of those reds to be in the open play, although Yize manages to catch the one on the right side really, really well, and now allowing himself to be heading back to his seat while still getting a really good chance to come back to the table now. Plenty of high value breaks, only 2 centuries so far in this final, 109 in frame number 7 by Shaun Murphy, and then of course a really good break of 103 points by Yize in frame number 11 out there. Sorry, frame number 10 I should say. As now he's looking for the red to be taken into the left corner here with Murphy, making sure that he's not going to push that one towards the pocket too much. And now just carefully playing that cue ball to be in behind the brown and in behind the green at the same time as well. So then Yize is just going to be looking for probably the right-hand side of those reds to try and exploit, because it's probably going to be down to that type of a shot for him to play here. Just making sure he will be certainly setting up the pace to what's going to happen now in this particular match, but it feels like he's going to have to be the player that still manages to come out on top with those side battles, because he only has got a 1 frame advantage, and if he's unable to convert it and he, it's any more of a balance to himself, then it'll be very much down to Murphy to try and turn it down to a race to 5 here and a best of 9 frames to try and win it for everyone. But for now, Murphy plays, Yize, I should say, plays a decent shot there, allowing Murphy to see enough of those reds on the right-hand side, but ultimately, you never quite want to be heading into them with too much aggression. Oh, it's a bad shot by Murphy. Well, that certainly wasn't expected out there, but he's the one to blink first, and such a big error, and that is going to be a blow for him if Yize is able to get through to the red into the right corner, especially if he's going to be able to play for the pink as well. Now then, are we going to see the first blink there from Shaun Murphy? He's had a bit of an ordinary break-off shot that allowed Yize to go for that red into the corner. Didn't manage to put it on that occasion, but this time he's going to be clinical with the red taken into the corner. Of course, he was, expected for him to put that one. With how close range he managed to end up in relation to that particular red. So it's a very interesting quiz there for him to try and get himself hands-on, because he's got so many reds to be around each other there. Probably the pink spot is going to be another target for him, so he's just trying to make sure, he takes the reds that are easier to play for, which is completely understandable. Once again, after the break-off shot, no surprise that the black is now going to be positioned for the bog for its own cushion. And meanwhile, Yize probably would like to try and, well, he's got 2 options now again. He can try and free up the paint to be heading into the left corner by putting the red out there, but probably going to have to try and hold the cue ball with not too much of the power, or you can try and go for some of the lower reds for him to try and take. But of course, the lower reds that he has played for is going to be a little bit more of a risk in relation to, he's going to have to play those type of shots very, very carefully, because, of course, still needs to try and make sure he's going to have the perfect positioning on the pink. So far, pot success in, the opening 3 sessions, as you can see, 81 in the first one, 93 in the second one, 87 in the third, and so far, only 75 in the fourth. But of course, that's down to, him already missing one of those reds into the left corner. Is Murphy being the more experienced, feeling jittery? Well, I feel like with Murphy, I would wait a couple of frames there until you can start to try and criticize him, because, by the way, Yize, as I say, that was such a weird decision to me that he was trying to make it to those low reds there, because he's still, finding himself in an awkward position on the pink. The fact that he's taken that one nicely into the corner is good, but he's still going to leave himself with plenty of distance in between the cue ball and the red, and that, of course, was down to, how good of a shot that he's played. So if he played that a little bit worse, he might not have been on the red at all. And also, where are you going to be able to try and find room so that the cue ball is going to end up on the pink? So as I say, I feel like he just created a problem out of nowhere for himself, because he still had so many reds to try and get closer to the pink there without trying to get himself into too much trouble involved. He can try and probably play this one for the blue, just to make sure that he won't be too much of a risk of a shot there. And he seems to have played that way. Still, he's going to be very straight on the blue. So he may as well be taking the pink on here, but of course that will be very much dependent on what can he produce in relation to the next red to be taken. For now, it clearly feels like he's got something to play for, because didn't do it with any contact with those reds on the cue ball. So still pretty happy with what he's going to get here. Just having a look at the pink to be respotted, and still, I mean, very important shot here. He's going to go into those 3 reds. He needs to try and make sure he pots the first one. And he's done that really well. Got the other couple of reds to be bouncing away. And he's still really nicely on the pink. Quite close to it. Quite tight as well. But because of him being so close, he should be able to recover without further complications. And make sure as he got himself a red to be taken into the left middle. Then play for the blue. And then you're going to have a chance to try and stun the cue ball in behind one of those reds to be taken into the right corner. So for now, the 35 points of a break. And it does seem like we're going to have a really good chance for Yize to try and take this one away, as he now just plays the cue ball carefully into the bunch of the reds and still positioning himself for the blue to be taken into the right middle. Plays that one with plenty of spin behind the cue ball as well, and now just trying to carefully get his point across towards the reds. Now he's going to have a chance of trying to go for the red now into the right corner. So then Murphy's break got to be to wake opponents' work to take the frame. Well, yeah, listen, but at the same time, it'll be very much down to a decent opportunity for the red to be taken into the left corner. But at the same time, I would say, you know, he's going to have at 40 points of a lead. So if he's looking at those reds to be taken without, as I say, further problems, then he should still be lined up pretty nicely to try and take it away. So just very careful that he's looking at the red to be taken into the left corner. Make sure he's still going to have the pink to be taken into the left side of it as well. Now playing for the pink to be taken into the left corner. So play this one with a little bit of topspin. Make sure try and find your way to be on the left-hand side of those reds to be taken into the right corner. So play it with plenty of topspin there. As I say, potentially trying to get on the lowest one of those reds next to the black box spot. Once again, trying to do that across the pink is not going to be a bad idea at this stage. So still looking at the red to be taken into the right part of the table there. Good news for Yize, of course, is that he's going to be having the angle to try and make it back down for the pink. But, well, he's decided to refuse that one. And very much down to a shot to be taken onto the right-hand side of the table. It's a thin cut, this is. But he's made this one really work for himself nicely. Now, still being on the lower side of a blue, but this time around he's got the perfect angle to try and take it around the globe. Just trying to play that into the ball cushion, and then it'll be very much down to the cue ball to be placed onto the lower side of a table, off the left side cushion and a bounce. And now it will be down to a shot to be taken onto the right corner. So plenty of backspin needed again. Make sure he's going to have the opportunity to try and play for the pink into the right corner. Probably try and get in behind of it as well. Plenty of pocket had to be used, but at the same time that works. Now then, getting closer towards the number 14 for himself. 54 points clear. He'll be 60 with the pink, so that will get him down to a frame ball on the reds. How well has he played this shot here? And he's played that one really good, because look at that. Perfect positioning on the red. Didn't sacrifice any of the angle. And now he'll be down to a red taken into the right corner. Making sure he plays for the pink into the left part of the table here again. And now still getting himself through to those couple of reds to be taken into the left corner. Ultimately, the pink is the shot there that probably will eliminate Murphy out of contention here for the 26th frame. Now once again looking at the potential split towards those reds. I mean, it can work if he plays it well enough into those couple of reds, but at the same time, does he want to be taking a risk like that? Does he just try and play for the pink to be taken into the left corner and drop that cue ball to be lined up on the lowest one of those reds? The pink is in, and he's done just that. I mean, he's going to have a look to see if he's able to get through to a red, you know, slightly further away from the black ball cushion, and the answer seems to be positive. So then still, a very nice break of 68 points, makes it to the top 5 of the breaks that he's made in the entire match there. And once again, getting on the reds into the corner. Now, the frame is going to be surely out of contention here for Murphy, and ultimately, a very important break here, despite both players having their chances. It'll be down to Yize to do that without using the black, by the way, which for him to be very much the black specialist. Now, it'll come down to a decent opportunity to be taking that red away plays the cue ball into the pink and still has got a great ability to be taking that one into the left corner. Played that with a little bit of topspin. Probably, he left himself for a double. So clearly still going for a century break as he now makes it down to all 80s and higher for the sub 5 breaks that he's had. Now then, the red seems to be looking nice, but at the same time, of course, losing the touch of the cue ball. And now he's going to have to go for a very difficult black to try and keep his century hopes alive. Well, is he going to go for a shot on the pink? Probably very close to exhibition at this stage. Yeah, still looking left, right and centre. Well, what can you do with the pink? I mean, he's going to have to try and take it through the left side cushion again. He's got the pink in, and it's a really good effort there. Just needs to make sure he's not going to be perfectly on the black. Well, he'll give himself a chance. It's a really thin cut that he has to be taking, but he's got an opportunity to try and make it one of the centuries of the whole tournament at the first frame of the 4th session. And, well, he got nowhere near it to the end. But at the same time, he's still going to have a chance to make it a break of 88 points and get himself back to his seat whilst having that lead to be taken over to 4 frames there in relation to, of course, the lead is now extended to 2 frames. But remember, he was 12-10 down. He now finds himself to be 14-12 up for the first time, I'm pretty sure, in the entire tournament. Yize, apart from maybe his match against Li Fan, he's managed to win 4 frames at a bounce. So now, it does look very nicely for him to try and take it away from Shaun Murphy. But is he going to be able to do that at the end? We'll have to wait and see for now. Murphy will probably have to go back to the drawing board there for himself because he won't be happy with what he's seen of himself, and now just having to make sure that no longer there are going to be misses like that, mistakes like that, and ultimately chances missed like that as well. He was only able to score a single point out there, and then Yize, despite it not being his first effort as well, he still managed to come away with a really good break of 88 points, and all of a sudden now he's going to be having 6 more points out there to be scored in relation to total points scored across the entire match there. 1,360 for Yize, 1,354 for Shaun Murphy. That has so far, in those previous 26 frames, has been absolutely the stat dominator. Whether he's going to be able to keep that status to himself until the end point of the match, we'll have to wait and see. But for now, it's getting ever closer for Yize, and now for himself, he'll be down to a race to 4 frames. Murphy still, for the 5th time now in a row, will be looking at a race to 6 frames, as he's still unable to get to that unlucky number 13. That may still be a lot more lucky than the number 12 that he has got next to his name here. For now, of course, since Murphy was breaking off for the previous frame, now we'll be down to Yize to try and do it himself. Make sure he doesn't follow the path of Murphy and leave an easy red to be taken into the left corner, or preferably the left middle as well, which we have seen plenty of cases beforehand previously. So for now, everyone going for Murphy to lose 16-18. Yeah, I always said, beforehand, I probably changed the scoreline a little bit because, before the match had started, I didn't really think of the scoreline. I always thought Murphy was going to win, but if I was to go for a scoreline, I'd probably go 18-15 for Murphy in favour. Now, of course, with, at that stage he was down for Yize to have 13 frames. I still feel like Murphy's going to be able to get closer, but for now, he's missing all those reds away, and still, a very difficult shot there that he's tried to go on and play. Well, let's see if he's left the red to be taken into the right middle, because as thin a cut this is, we've seen plenty of those reds to be attempted there by Yize, and it seemed like he's going to turn his back on that red. So, option B there, trying to send the red back down the table, the one that Murphy's tried to play previously into the corner. And still, I'll tell you what, he's having a look at the red that I mentioned to try and cut it into the middle. It depends on how little power can you try and play this shot with without, leaving it down to fate. It's a decent effort. So, well, to be fair, it was a decent effort, but he played that with way too much power anyway, and he didn't really feel like he believed in himself to try and take that red on, which is a bad thing to be doing, I would say. Because if you're not going to be 100% committed, you may as well not play that shot at all. Great break without blacks, long shot deadly, signs of confidence. Well, I wouldn't say long shot's deadly because, of course, that was very much with a chance left away there from Yize, but the long shot into the left corner was absolutely disaster there for him. But still, absolutely have to acknowledge one mistake from Murphy, apart, of course, from that break-off shot, and then he was down to a break of 88 points to be made. I'll tell you what, Murphy genuinely throwing all the caution out of the wind, and he was happy to go for that raid into the middle. Yes, he was playing for the black anyway, but, you know, he certainly has left a couple of options here for Yize to try and take those reds away. Whether he will do that or not remains to be seen, but yeah, it seems like Murphy's trying to go a little bit too aggressive out there. And Yize now thinking about going for a double, potentially to the right middle. And, well, it's not going to be too close at the end. But, of course, he was always going to get cover from, you know, the huge shell of those reds to be covering that right middle. So then as Murphy comes back to the table, he's going to be having a look himself at what's going to happen with those reds at the right part of the table. So he can try and play the red in towards the right middle and just probably get that cue ball to be lined up perfectly on the black cushion, which was very much the intention. And the execution wasn't bad either. So I still feel like it will be very much a long time until we see those reds to be developed further enough there so that we're going to see a breakthrough opportunity for either one of the two players. For now, as you can see, safety success 81% for Sean Murphy, 74% for Yize. Pot success has dropped down there from 92% previously for Murphy down to 90%, and he's been rising ever since that first session for Yize, now up at 88%. Now then, 62% of long pot success for Sean Murphy and 58% for Yize out there. Rest pot success, incredibly, you know, it's now going to be 100% for Yize and 78% for Sean Murphy. As positional success is still very much dominated by Sean, 94% in relation to 59% by Yize out there. But what kind of a shot is this? I mean, what has Murphy done here? Yize seems to have a look at it and... well, whether that was a bait or not, it seemed like that raiding to the right middle is way too close to be leaving that one on. And ultimately, he'll go for it. Whether there is going to be a chance to try and avoid the in-off into the green pocket. He's done that before against Selby in the 8th frame. Now, can he try and avoid that? Oh, he's misjudged that one. Maybe it was a little bit of a genius bait from Murphy. But he still manages to play that cue ball really nicely for the black. And in the end, he's not going to be giving away anything easy out there for Sean. So at the end... probably was worth it out there. Unforced error, they count that, which I'm not really sure. I mean, it's not really unforced error if you manage to put the cue ball to be safe, because that raid wasn't easy to be taken on. For now, Murphy's going to be leading even this particular stat. He's got 13 unforced errors, whereas Yize has got only 11 of those, including the previous raid that he missed. Average fade time just under 18 minutes, which is not too bad, and especially for the final, it's going to be absolutely brilliant. You know, he's have 18 minutes, 26 frames. Doesn't look too bad at all for something like 9 hours of match play. So still looking to try and get it very much back towards the yellow pocket there with some of the reds that he's taken. And the cue ball is going to be positioning nicely as long as he hasn't got that red to be too close to the yellow pocket, which I feel like he's managed to do just about fine there, Sean, because he has left the reds to be far away from the yellow pocket. Also, the angle is going to be very tight for him to make that in. And at the same time, he's going to have to make sure, you know, the cue ball is going to be under grade control at the same time as well. So let's see if he's going to be able to do that. For now, he wasn't. And I mean, that's a bit of a weird shot that he was taking on. And he's really fortunate for now because his mistakes don't really seem like they're going to be giving anything away to Sean Murphy. And, well... of course, Sean is going to get frustrated with that pretty soon. Probably not just yet because it's only the 2nd frame and he's still got plenty of opportunities to try and make your ground up later on. But just a matter of time until it feels like, well, if he's getting away, I may as well try and get away with it too. Whether it works or not, very rarely does. Because if you're not playing as much as Yize, of course, you don't really have those chances to be working in your favour. So... for now, he's just going to be a careful safety and leaving that red to be on the left-hand side of the table. Still looking to try and get the first point on the board there. Either Sean Murphy or Yize. As now we've got the player from China looking at this red. Probably looking at a potential chance for a cross double there. But, you know, the previous one that he's played against Murphy, certainly gone everything but according to the plan. Always tell you what, he's played a really nice shot here. Managed to somehow get on the lower end of the cue ball and still... playing a really good safety. Slow play. Now, I'd probably say it's something that we expected to see there. You know, you can't just have the 26 frame was very quick because he was very much down to a single break there to be had. But now, you're looking to try and get an opportunity here, which, I tell you what, at this position with all those reds to be in open play, it's going to be a very dangerous chance if you give that one away to your opponent, which is why, of course, both of the players will be looking to try and make sure it won't be them that does it. As Murphy plays another really good safety shot, manages to find a very narrow line there of the cue ball to follow. And still looking for that red on the left-hand side there from Yize. Well, one more. Well, yeah, but he's going to have to try and make sure he keeps that 2 frame of a gap so that he allows himself to have that extra bit of a frame there to try and get over the finish line. Remember, I was looking very patiently at that at the International Championship against Higgins, but it didn't really seem like he needed a second invitation. I feel like, you know, it was very much down to John take one of those frames away and turn 9-5 into 9-6, but then the next frame was very much flawless out there from Yize, and he didn't really leave a chance away for John Higgins as well. Now then, looking at the red to be taken into the left corner. Has he got what he takes to try and play that red into the left corner? He's certainly going to be aiming for that one. And is he going to be close? He won't be. And where's this red going to finish? The cue ball is going to be relatively safe. Ooh, is he going to be safe though? Ooh, I mean, that's a little bit unfortunate at the end because the red that he was playing for gone around the entire table from the left corner to the green pocket, gone around the side of the right part of the table as well. And now at the end of it, it does seem like he's left Shaun Murphy with a chance to be taken into the left corner. But of course, he's got plenty of those now around the table. Now just looking to try and go for the red in towards the left middle. Or as I say, the one that Yize managed to cannon into the open play from the black cushion. Still needs to play the shot really well in relation to the accuracy, and he's done that well. Now then, the first point for Murphy didn't really get to anything in the previous frame. Can this one be a lot more meaningful for him here? And looking at the reds to be taken into the right middle. Of course, he needs to make sure it's not quite going to be the same story as Higgins because he's got very different kind of an opposition player against him, but at the same time, you feel like if he's not... Yeah, there you go. We've got the guy with the yellow colour back. You know, the guy that on a 2-table setup was always sat next to the players. I've seen him there just behind the shot of Shaun Murphy. I would like to know his name, by the way, because I still call him the guy with the yellow colour, even though he's now wearing a right shirt. So, you know, would love to have seen BBC, TNT or WSD to do something with them so that, you know, you could actually get to know a little bit about the guy and find out why and how he's managed to stay so committed to the World Championship. But I'll tell you what, you know, probably going to be the third highest attender there after Shaun Murphy and Yize, because those two, of course, have made it to the final. But I'll tell you what, I'm pretty sure he's managed to make 2 more matches than the likes of Mark Cullen and John Higgins. So then looking to play a red into the left corner, that's done. And still looking to try and keep himself to be on the black now for the foreseeable future, as he's now getting that cue ball to run away from the black here and positioned still really, really nicely in relation to the reds off into the right middle, and still, very importantly for himself, leaving a chance to try and get the cue ball to be running towards the black. So still looking to try and make it. Of course, Murphy has only lost 37 frames in the entire championship so far. He'll be looking to try and win 35 of those if he's going to be able to beat Yize, and of course beating John Higgins in the semi-finals alone. So in a 1-table setup, you know, if he's going to be able to beat Yize, then he would have lost pretty much the same number of frames in the entire tournament as he has managed to win in those 2 simple matches out there. But of course that goes without, you know, the 14 frames that it would have lost to Yize. So they're looking for the reds to be taken into the left middle. And, well, lift himself with a bit of a difficult shot now to take on, especially if he's going to be going for the one straight. Still needs to make sure he plays that one very carefully towards the left middle. And, yeah, just very careful in relation to the position of the black, making sure he's got a chance to try and get that cue ball away from those reds and put it towards the left side cushion. Plenty of power behind it again, but this time around, plenty of accuracy as well. Brilliant shot there for Murphy, and for now, I mean, he is keeping himself to be on reds and blacks here, and still looking to try and make it down to a red to be taken into the right middle. I mean, he's got another option of those to try and take into the left corner here, which I assume that's the one that he goes for. You know, really doesn't have to worry about trying to play for the black now, and if anything, he's trying to go for the bold colours right now, and just very careful in relation to his positioning on the green. Still got so many of those reds at the top end of the table. This is what I said, you know, when you talk about those frames to be a slow burner, well, It was always going to be down to one chance. He's going to win it all. And for now, he doesn't look too bad here for Murphy in relation to 33 points that he's been able to build a gap off. And still looking to try and take the red into the right part of the table here. So once again, plenty of power. Needed to try and stun that cue ball for the Reds. Play that cue ball to be heading towards the red now. And get himself lined up for the red to be taken into the right middle. Once again, play that shot with plenty of power here. If he wants to try and take it on the yellow, he can always try and get himself on the blue in the next couple of shots. But you feel like this one is going to be a little bit too risky. And anything but risky right now when you're going to be 12, 14 behind. Especially when your opponent has managed to win 4 frames on the bounce for the first time since, I don't know, at least the quarterfinal. Has he won 4 frames in a row against Waffei? I'm pretty sure he hasn't. Because of how, he had a good run in the second and third sessions out there against Hussein, but at the same time, I'd still say that he didn't really manage to win 4 frames on the bounce. He's been able to do that for now in the previous 4 frames, but this time around as Murphy plays nicely for, well, the red into the corner, but now he's going to have to very nervously take this pink away into the left middle. It's awkward because of how close the cue ball is going to be to another red. He's not got a choice to try and go for the black with the blue, but he has got a really nice chance to be rolling that cue ball for the red to be taken. Or has he played this one a little bit too wide? I mean, he was always going to be searching for that back and jaw of the pocket, but needed to make sure he didn't play too wide on that one, but the pink is going to be in. So the 40 points of a lead, and still getting a chance of going for the red now to be taken into the right corner. Very carefully down to take that cue ball away from the right side cushion. Make sure, well, it depends. It seems like he's going to try and play this one with a full-on spin. But as I said, this was just about to mention it. When you play a shot like that, you need to be absolutely spot on with the power. And he hasn't done so. So overall for the black, needs to take this one away and does so, to be fair. So one mistake, one recovery. Not a bad effort out there. And still 54 points of a lead. Once again, we've seen a break of 88 points previously from Yize. Seen a photo of Wood Hendry from 2012 early. Yes, absolutely. I mean, I couldn't believe it, by the way, because I thought he was one of those fake accounts that posted on Twitter. But it genuinely was the case because he was the official snooker account that did it. But, I mean, I tell you what, he would have been only, 8 years of age at that stage. It's crazy, man. It was the last World Championship for Hendry. And, well, I mean, literally 14 years later, you've got 22-year-old trying to become the second youngest world champion ever. I mean, you couldn't write it, could you? It does remind you a little bit of that Yamal and Messi picture where, you know, so many years ago, and look at where Yamal has finished now and look at what Messi's managed to achieve in his career. This will come down, Murphy. Game on. Yes, it's incredible. Yeah, I mean, exactly like. But to be fair, I will give it to Murphy. He's played a really good frame so far, and he now only needs to make sure the black is going to be in, and preferably for himself, just for his confidence and safety, he needs to try and take a red with this one as well. So, for now, we are seeing plenty of one of those one-table visits here, and one break wins it all. So far, we've had a break of a single point from Murphy in the first frame. We've had a break of 88 points from Yize in the first frame. And now we've got a break of 70 points and counting for Sean Murphy. Looking to try and make it down to the pink. Taken carefully into the left corner. Make sure he's got that cue ball to keep on rolling towards the red. And try and take that one away into the green pocket as well. So this time around, of course, he won't be down to, worried about the frame. He's just looking to try and make only the third century break in the entire match here. Still looking to try and improve on that 109 that he's managed to achieve previously. He's going for a potential of 135 now, but he's going to lose 2 points here straight away. And also he's got those 3 remaining reds to be positioned quite awkwardly because, of course, you want to make sure, when you're still not safe for the frame, you need to try and keep those dangerous and safe reds, I should say, very much positioned close to the side cushion still. You're going to be guaranteed to be winning the frame, which is clear right now. But in the end, play that one a little bit too close to the front jaw. And the red spot success is going to come down to Sean Murphy to be losing a percentage there. But ultimately, it's still a really nice break of 82 points from Sean Murphy. And he's going to be getting himself back towards his seat. And still looking to try and challenge Yize later on in this match. as it's now going to be Shaun Murphy 13, Yize 14, 27 frames in, and still at least 4 more to play. So then, it's getting closer. We've already gone past that point of the previous championship where Xiaoxington managed to defeat Mark Williams by 18 frames to 12. And still, by the way, I've seen a very interesting stat on Twitter as well. No point during the period where it has gone best of 35 frames. Here's a stat for you. At the Crucible, there has been a win of 18 frames to 10. There's been a few 18 frames to 9s, there's been a few 18 frames to 11s, but there has never been an 18 to 10 win in the final of the Crucible. Was working with Ronnie for a bit. I feel like he wasn't really working with him, but I feel like there was a couple of sessions that he've done, but I wouldn't say, he was hiring Ronnie as his coach. But of course, he was sharing his experience because, he said him and Xiaoxington are very much the future of the sport. And, he tries to try and help out on the things that he's going to be very much keen on. But once again, I feel like it's just very small tweaks out there. But because Ronnie was the one early this season in February that did say, give him 3 years, he'll be the world number 1 and definitely will be world champion very soon. You fast forward 3 months and here he is, 4 frames away from glory and still looking to try and make it away against Shaun Murphy here. I feel Murphy's plan is to spread the reds early and then using his better safety play to wait for a chance to clear. Yes, that's true, and this is what I said. I feel like this is what he was doing in the second session out there, maybe even the starting point of the third session too. But the thing about that is that it hasn't really worked in the previous couple of frames because, he worked in frame 27, but he didn't work in frame number 26 because Yize was the one that got that chance of trying to score some big points. And then, of course, he's managed to have a break of 88 points out there. So, didn't really work for Shaun Murphy on each of those regards. But at the same time, he still finds himself to be only 1 frame away from making it back to score draw. And still 14 frames each. Of course, that will make us equal to the record of the 2024 World Championship, where he was down to 18 versus 14, where probably one of the worst, once again, no disrespect to Kyron or Jones, but it wasn't really the best World Championship that we were seeing in 2024. I feel like that was down to losing so many top seeds in the quarterfinal stage, where we lost Higgins, where we lost Ronnie, where we lost Trump, and we had the likes of Gilbert, Jones, Bingham, all to come through towards the semi-final stage. It's a combination of both, as Peter. Yeah, I probably would say that he's trying to make sure he will be coming down to him to be the man that has got a better safety play. So he probably will be down to a decent opportunity. Has he gone back to the standard break? Because that one is nothing that we've seen for him so far. I didn't really see if he's caught the third or the second red, but that certainly seems like it's a bit of a different variety of a shot now. Well, what does Yize do here? Can he go for that red into the corner? Does he feel like it's going to be worth it? Especially with the black to be so close to another red. For now, he's gone for the red into the left corner. He didn't play that one too close to the pocket, which means, he's not going to stay in the jaws of it. And he still manages to get really nicely in relation to the cue ball and position himself now to be very much in behind the green. His break every time had few reds loose from the pack. Yeah, this is what I mean there, but this time around, all of them are going to be on the right-hand side, apart from the left-hand side previously. And also the cue ball was very much down to the right-hand side as well, very much next to the green pocket. So I felt like that was very much down to it. I feel like he had more reds to be spread out away from the main pack as well, but it could be just down to, there's always going to be a variation and variety of them as well. For now, the variety on the safety wasn't good enough. And once again, just like in the first frame, there's a chance for Yize to be taking that red away. And now, is he going to be on the colour of any kind? Well, he's not on the black, he's not on the pink. So it comes down to yellow or blue to be taken on. It's awkward and it's difficult. And he knows that. He hasn't got a chance to do anything with the black or, the pink, etc. But he will be no chance to be taking the brown from such long range. So he has to be down to yellow or blue. I feel like he probably will come down to the blue here. But it's not an easy shot for you to play because of how, his hand positioning is awkward. His bridge is going to be quite long. Well, you could just see this one to be heading very wrong. And, You certainly couldn't see that one heading really right, but I tell you what, that was a brilliant shot for me. I mean, I genuinely thought the blue was going to be miles away from the pocket, but look at how clean he strikes that one into the yellow pocket, and now he gets himself another chance to try and take this one away on Sean Murphy's break-off shot. Tell you what, for now, it doesn't seem like the whole topic about that break-off shot being that brilliant is working out for him. Of course, we had stages of the match there where it was working for him, but at the same time, we had stages of the match where it was very much causing him some pretty serious troubles as well. But, you know, same thing has to be said about Yize's break-off shot in the previous frame. You know, as I say, swings both ways as he now tries to utilize the majority of that front jaw, still dropping that red in nicely. And ultimately, and most importantly, being on the top side of a blue, as soon as that red disappears, you need to make sure you're going to be absolutely spot on when it comes down to the positioning on the blue. And he's managed to do that well. So, just trying to probably get closer towards the black ball spot there in relation to those reds that he's got. And the one onto the left of it. Well, I thought he was going to try and position himself onto the left-hand side of that red, but he's trying to go for the same red that I was talking about, but on the right-hand side of it, which is nice, because he's now not going to be, you know, having that task of having to bridge over the black. So now about to put the black to be exactly where it belongs in its own spot. Overplayed here slightly for the underplayed, I should say, for the black, and may have to try and just leave that cue ball to be on the right side cushion because, you know, simply going to be very short in those reds. But in the end, look how well he's managed to take that pace away from the cue ball, still leaving himself a red to be taken into left middle. And for now, some great pace to the first 2.5 frames out there. Yes, the second one was taking a little bit of time for us to get the first chance in, but since Murphy was able to take that one with a break of 82 points, it's still going to be very much down to Yize to try and respond here, as he's still keep finding himself just 50 or 100 points behind out there in relation to the total points scored by Sean Murphy. But it seemed like, you know, we've had a couple of those frames where Murphy was close to be winning the frame, and then Yize was actually able to take those ones away in the first session. But ever since, it seemed like we've gone quite far away from that one. And told you, long shots, well, yeah, but if you're going to count that as a long shot, I mean, you may as well count me as a professional player. Oh, that's a bad miss. That's a bad miss from Yize, and that's going to be a red, which sits all over the pocket. Well, it's not really going to be a shot which cost him dearly, but what happened here? Well, it just seemed like he was a little bit too careful, trying to make sure he didn't hit the pink first. But at the same time, now it's going to be a chance for Sean Murphy to try and pot the same red away into the corner. And well, tell you what, that certainly was down to probably not pressure, but, you know, just a little bit of being too careful, trying to be too careful with that particular shot, making sure that he wasn't going to commit a foul shot on the ping, but at the same time, still had to make sure he potted the reds, and he wasn't quite able to do so. So now leaving that red to be over the pocket. Murphy's not going to have too many of those reds to play for, and then he'll come down to a shot on the black to be taken into the left part of the table as well. Played that with plenty of the action. What's he done here then in relation to those reds? Well, I'll tell you what, he's not really nicely positioned on any of them to me. I mean, has he got one into the left middle? He got a decent touch on them, but I feel like that cue ball was always going to be heading towards the reds and to the right side, and well, he's going to have to try and go for this red, even though it's not the easiest cut, far from it. And well, he could actually see through a red, which I thought he wasn't able to get through to, but still, it wasn't an easy shot for him to play. And now he runs himself very much down to a position where he's going to find himself to be the man in charge of the entire frame here. Only 17 points behind, and yeah, still looking at it. Yeah, his long game is high quality. Yeah, well, now he is very much coming down to Sean Murphy to try and bring his long range game to good quality. Of course, he didn't really need to be doing that in the previous couple of frames that he's won, and then he'll still be looking at the red to be taken into the corner. 13 points here as the difference in between Sean Murphy and Yize. So if he goes for the red into the corner, still got a great chance to try and carry that cue ball to be lined up for the pink. This final session of the Worlds will test your cure action to the maximum. Yeah, absolutely, because you feel like at that stage, you'll be very much coming down to pink probably put him off. Yeah, but the thing about it is that you had to find the benefit of the two. You know, you can't just say the pink was in the way. Either you don't play for that red in the first place, or you make sure you get that red in. No reason to be too careful and too cautious with that one, and hopefully They'll teach him a lesson because he can't afford to be making mistakes like that under such a crucial period of the match. And of course, look at the position that he's left. Yes, Murphy managed to get into those reds beforehand, but it could have easily been Yize to try and do it as well. And now it does seem like Murphy himself is going to be marching on towards making it 14 frames each and nothing to separate the players after the first 28 frames to be played. And turn it very much down to, just like it was the first round of the English Open or any, home nations tournaments, first to 4 at that stage you'll be, best of 7. And one more frame before the intermission, of course, after this one as well. So they're looking for the reds to be taken into the right corner. Play carefully for the black. Yeah, I feel like the reason why Murphy wasn't really happy with himself is that he realised he needed to be really spot on here in relation to his position on the black. Needed to make sure that he wasn't going to be straight, and also needed to be, of course, very, very sure that he wasn't going to be positioning that cue ball to be sent down the table, not up. But he's done that well. He was positioned for the black perfectly well, and I thought he was going to try and play in behind those reds into the left part of the table, but he decided to try and go for the easier red first, which is completely understandable at this stage. Just like what he's done in the previous frame 2. Having to go for those reds, having to eliminate the easy ones first, and making sure, you don't have to touch the difficult ones until you realise that you haven't got any more easy ones to play for, because, of course, if you make a mistake on the difficult one, and then that was probably the only reason that was keeping your opponent to be safe, now he comes back to the table and he's like, well, the difficult red, which was the biggest problem for me to try and make a clearance, that one's been very much out in the open play. And, by the way, another bad shot there for Murphy. Is he playing this one safe? Wow. He's playing that one safe, so that was a mistake from Sean as well. Surprised with him not even trying to go for that red into the corner, but in the end, he was down to his decision out there. And still looking at a potential safety that he's played. 17 points of a lead that Murphy finds himself through here into the 28th frame. And now Yize is going to be the player looking at this red and just having a look to see what's going to be happening at the right part of the table here. And I'll tell you what's going to be happening. Plenty of reds to be in a very dangerous position here. And in fact, it's the ultimate of your character. Well, so like at this stage for Yize, he will probably be down to just trying to play a couple of good safety shots, and then be very much down to, well, just having a look at the red to be taken into the left corner. His character is going to be tested probably later on out there in relation to, it depends on which position, of course, he finds himself at. But I felt like, he can't really get any worse of a test than the one that he had against Mark Cullen. Yes, I get it was for the trip to the final and not for the win itself. But, when you're 14-16 down, when you haven't played well for pretty much the entire session, when your opponent needs one more shot to play and you win that match, it doesn't really get any more of a test of a character than this. And at the end stage, now be down to a shot to be taken into the left part here. And just carefully playing that cue ball to be around the brown and make sure he's going to have a chance of, going for that red into the left corner. Well, once again, the interesting thing about Sean Murphy is that he probably left that red on purpose because I feel like he knows Yize is very unlikely to get himself in with a chance after such a difficult position. And at the same time, even if he does get himself a chance, then what is it going to be down to, in relation to making a total clearance here? And that was a mistake. Well, maybe it was a bit of a genius move there from Murphy, because I feel like he genuinely was leaving that red on purpose just to put it out there. And, well, it was risky, for sure, but now it'll be down to him to try and pick up the pieces, and he doesn't have to play too many of those difficult shots either. He's got 2 reds in the open play. He's just taken the first one as well, and then he'll come down to probably taking, just one more difficult red away from the black ball cushion that may actually be getting himself more than a 43 points of a lead, which, of course, is something that he will need to try and make sure that, he doesn't need any one of those reds at the right part of the table. So right now he's ahead by 25 points, which means he will need one of those reds to be taken as a frame ball. But for now, just looking to try and make the life a little bit easier for himself. 26 points of a lead now, about to be down to, 33 As soon as he takes the black away, then he'll be back down to 41 if he takes another red and black combination. Of course, making that life for Yize already difficult at this stage. You know, making sure you'll need those two reds taken with the pink and black combinations, as well as needing a total clearance. We should have powered that red. No, not really, because that could have gone anyway. And just making sure that he was going to come down to accuracy rather than power. But at the end, there wasn't plenty of accuracy about that particular shot either. So, just trying to take it down to the red onto the cushion. He can just try and float this one in. Because it's not ideal to be doing that. Because if you try and float this one in, you know, you always leave a chance away from missing that red away. But yeah, Murphy wasn't too bothered about that one. So then taking the red and the black. Now leaves himself with a good chance of playing for the black into the corner. And good match play and plenty of bottle needed. Yeah, I'll probably agree with that one as well, because you have got a great chance of trying to make it down to, 49 points of the lead. So probably no chance for Yize to be coming back to the table here. And now it's 14 frames each, despite Yize having the previous chance in that frame. And now, well, let's see if he's going to come back to the table. I probably wouldn't say there's going to be plenty of reason behind it. And he will be very much down to frame conceded. And now, 3 frames in less than an hour, he'll be very much down to Sean Murphy to try and make a real game out of this one. And now leaves it with 14 frames each. And as I say, that record of 2024 in relation to 32 frames that have played out there is now going to be equaled as well. And I'd say you've got no chance of making sure that one of the players will go on the run of 4 frames and a bounce. Next frame, super important for Wu. Yeah, I probably would say just to try and make sure he keeps it down to him as a player in the lead. Because, we've seen that in the third session where he lost it 5-3, but he won 3 frames at the end of it. So, it's now probably going to be down to a really important frame for him to try and win, just to make sure he edges his nose ahead once again. Makes it down to 15-14 and only 1 frame in it. But at the same time, Murphy will genuinely start to feel a little bit nervous about that, because he does, for now, remind you of the matches that he's played against Bingham and against Selby, because he's been closer to Yize so far in this match, but ultimately, those 2 matches are finished with 18 frames to 15, and at this stage, we're probably entering the zone where 16 or 15 frames for the loser is probably going to be the most logical thing, because you're very unlikely to take this one the distance because of how, you need to literally to be perfect at the same time, and you need that 1 point where you're going to have a Yize or Sean Murphy to need 1 more frame where, they're not going to be able to do it right until the very last moment, and then you could still be a little bit of a swing of momentum. So I feel like it will be down to Yize to have these couple of frames to lose, but at the same time, that only comes down to him being the player that has got less experience, and at the same time, it's a player that does rely on him being the front runner. He doesn't really come across as a player that is brilliant from behind, and ultimately it will be down to, a really good chance of trying to make sure he will be very much level playing field, and if someone is going to have to be ahead, then very much down to try and make himself to be that leading man, looking to try and get his hand on the trophy. But for now, listen, you usually would say, you get to 14 frames, you have got 1 hand on the trophy. For now, it seemed like it's nothing to separate the players away, and still at least 4 more frames for us to see, and it could still be down to 7 frames more for us to witness if the match is to go a very much deciding frame as well. So then Yize for now, with a break-off shot, trying to take the cue ball away from those reds. He's trying to stick to very much, the standard opportunity of taking that break-off shot. Not trying to invent anything like Sean Murphy's done previously, but still making sure that he's played this break-off shot nicely in relation to his left red to be taken into the right corner. But at the same time, I probably would put it down to a nice opportunity for that red to be cut into the corner if it wasn't for the black there. Because if it wasn't for the black, you got a really nice chance to try and play it around the black here. But of course, at this stage, you'll be very much down to a different case scenario here. All down to a few frames after mini break. Spectators get their money worth for drama. Well, true, but at the same time, who's going to be in the lead before that point? Who's going to go back to that practice table, looking to try and make it very much back down to, them to be the leading man. And for now, it's an interesting shot there that Murphy's gone for. And I'll tell you what, if he's left the red to be taken into the yellow pocket. I'd say Yize tries to go for that one. Well, I mean, he's got a chance to have two of those options. I'd probably say it's a little bit too close for comfort, especially due to that raid that he missed into the corner and allowed Murphy back in with a chance with, that raid that he was too scared of the ping. But he's got a second opportunity to try and get one of those raids into the left middle. Whether he'll go for that, it's a question mark, but of course, whether he'll make it, it's going to be very much down to a huge challenge for him to try and achieve. And then going for that raid, probably try and get the ping to be into the open play a little bit more. And still playing that cue ball as if it was down to a break-off shot yet again. So Yize out. Well, I can't remember Jimmy and Stephen way back in the day, 14-all in the final session. Well, the fact that Jimmy White hasn't managed to win a single of those World Championship finals is still going to be mad out there. But of course, Murphy has managed to do it once. He has had 3 finals to Higgins, where, this is going to be close to a fluke into the corner. It's going to be a fluke that he's taken nicely, but is he going to be on the collar? He won't be, is the quick answer. And now, has he got a chance to take this shot as an attacking version? Well, probably not, if he's not going to have the brown or green to try and playing behind off. And just trying to carefully guide that green away from the brown, get the cue ball to being behind the brown as well. Now comes down to just a single point that Murphy has managed to score. And Yize will have to try and play this one carefully into the right side of the table. Once again, very quick in his decision making. And, well, I mean, that's risky. That is risky. And I'll tell you what, for me, he hasn't played the shot well enough. Murphy's going to have to be bridging very awkwardly, but he's going to have to try and make it down to a raid to be taken into the corner. Well, that was a bad shot and a little bit too quick, I would say, that Yize is trying to get himself out of a snooker situation. Didn't play that with the perfect distribution of power. And now he'll come down to a red to be taken into the corner here. But he's got plenty of room to try and slow that cue ball before it reaches the black. But I would be surprised if he refuses a shot like that. Although, of course, he can't put it into perspective that any mistake here will be very much a costly one as well. And it seemed like Yize has managed to get away with that one. You genuinely felt like there was going to be a great chance for Murphy just to try and roll through that raid, position the cue ball to be as tight to the black as it can be, but at the same time, that wasn't the case. And still now looking for Yize to try and make it down to those lower raids to be taken towards the left corner. So then plenty of thinking going through his head. But ultimately, what's the decision going to be like? Probably just try and take the red closest to the cue ball here in relation to second closest to the right side cushion. Well, he's trying to play the one into the black there, and that was a decision which is going to cost him dearly. Or is it? I mean, I was just about to say it's going to be the same mistake as Murphy has done in the first frame of the 4th session. But now, I mean, has he left anything available for Murphy? Certainly there is a red to be taken with a very thin cut into the corner, but at the same time, that may be it there, And that's not great for Murphy to try and take, because that red is missable. Ooh, it's anything but easy. How far away he's going to be. You would expect him to make it, but anything is missable now. He had a bit of a cannon with a block twice out there, but he deserves a little bit of luck after not being so fortunate to have an easy chance to be taken. And now, Murphy once again will sense like there's a chance. And cue ball bumping into the middle pocket knocker will always cause trouble. Yeah, that's true. And that has been the case so far. Unless it's going to be right at the starting point of a frame, which technically, that of course, that previous shot was. But, at that stage, we already had so many of those reds to be in open play. And now playing for the black to be taken into the left corner. Make sure he doesn't have the same calamity as what happened on his previous red shot. The one that he was trying to get himself closer to a century break in the previous frame. But, of course, this one is actually going to be for a very important frame win, as he's looking to try and get closer to it. Taking the red away into the left corner, so that makes 3 reds now that he's taken. And at the same time, look at the position that he has ahead of himself. Looking really nicely, but try and make it down in the red to be taken into the left corner. Make sure he's going to have a chance to try get that cue ball to be closer to those reds. Positioned very straight on that one as well. Doesn't have to be thinking or overthinking about the angles, because of course the straight line just allows you to position that cue ball with a little bit more or less power, and that will allow you to dictate how far or how close you want to be positioned on the black in relation to the angles as well. So it seems like he's played the shot on purpose so that he's going to have a chance to try and play this one around the red, get that cue ball to be bouncing just about close enough to the left side cushion. So it's still going to be very much a comfortable shot there that Murphy's looking to take on towards the right corner. Now they're looking for those couple of reds to be taken into the right middle as well, probably thinking about the chance of getting lined up for that red later on in the break, because now, as I say, yes, it's going to be down to something like 30 points that we're looking at, but ultimately that's going to be a little bit too, well, probably it there in relation to the loose reds available to him. Of course, that's going to be now down to him to try and find those couple of more loose reds or try and go into the pack, which is not going to happen now. How well he's going to be down to position on the black to be taken into the left corner. So once again, plenty of side spin and probably plenty of side cushion to be used as well. Try and get really low onto the cue ball. Well, he's trying to play this one with top spin, which means he's clearly trying to go for the red into the right middle. Just how close can he get to this one? In the end, pretty close is the answer. Excellent commentary, mate. Thank you very much. I wonder what's going on through their minds now at 14-0. Well, probably not a lot there. I would still say, just because of how close this is, I'd probably say you realise you need to be very much still. You're a long way off that title, and I probably would say, if you're going to get to 16 frames, this is where it's going to be, well, I might actually try to win this one now. You know, in relation to, I might be able to win this one. Not try, because they've been trying for 17 days there. Still looking to be on the paint there with Murphy. Well, it seems like he's not really going to be the biggest fan of having to bridge over those reds. So this shot is not really going to be on his favourite list. But still needs to be taken care of. Trying to push that cue ball wide so that he opens up the angle. Has he opened up the angle too much on the pink? I said this shot is not going to be on his favourite list. Well, could it be exactly the same mistake as Yize's was on the previous frame, which cost him so dearly? It was a red next to the pink. Right now it's going to be a pink next to the red. And well, the position is not a bad one at all. And maybe there is going to be pressure going through their minds, because we haven't really seen those type of misses to be coming along in the third session. Well, now it's going to be very much back down to a black to be taken into the corner. Can he try and play the shot into the bunch? We probably has to be doing that very soon. He's going to try and do it now. How is his luck? The answer is, it's horrible. It could not have been worse. Yeah, it's a waste. It's a waste that from Yize, because he needs to realise Murphy's not going to be leaving him chances like that. I want to see the replay on how well he played it into the bunch. But you can see pack split success so far in the match. 43% only. Not good enough. Here's the bottom line. But at the same time, of course, we've got 26 points to be separating the players. And we still have got 91s at the table. But I feel like Yize is never really going to be striking me as a player that he's going to be the favourite to try and come back from being 26 points down, even though he's got plenty more points ahead of himself at the table. I mean, you can see that he's clearly looking to try and go for any attacking shot here, but apart from taking that reckless plans into the corner, which is going to be reckless even for him, you know, you haven't got anything else that you can do here, which is why I say that pack split was absolutely horrible, because he was always going to leave himself on anything, but seems to have left himself on absolutely nothing here. So then taking that cue ball now towards the ball cushion, try and get himself to be blocked out by the blue in relation to the red. And I'll tell you what, he's going to be close. And he's managed to block off that one really nicely as well. So then the break of 8 points will be the end of Yize. Now it's back down to Sean Murphy to try and take this one away. Looking to try and take that red away into the left corner as well. Plenty of topspin to try and play. Now then, how's the cue ball going to be positioned for? It's going to be bouncing away from the ball cushion, so it's not going to be too tight for that one. Well, there's going to be a gap. There's always a gap. And there's now a chance for Yize to go for the red into the left corner. He's going to be checking the line. Well, Murphy hasn't played that previous shot well enough to me. Is he going to be able to play this shot well enough? Long pot success 57%. So technically, it's better than his chances of trying to split the pack and still be on the reds. And I did have a feeling that he was going to be able to take this one away. And now he's going to be perfectly on the colours. This is why sometimes playing that extra safety shot when you haven't been lined up perfectly on those shots is still going to be a great advantage to yourself. And now Yize will find himself to be in a position of going for the yellow or the brown or the green, and ultimately having plenty of reds to try and work his way through. Still looking to try and make it very much down to the story of the tournament, where, especially when it comes down to the matches against Higgins and Yize so far, when Murphy just unable to find himself in the front line. But he may be able to do that now. You never quite know what the next break will bring for Yize. For now, just carefully takes that green away, positioning himself for the reds to be taken into the right middle. I mean, I feel like the fact that the pink is going to be out of place is going to be a great boost there for the chances of Yize, and he may want to keep the things to be like that for a while before he's able to get through those reds and very much make sure he'll be coming down to, a shot on the red now to be taken for the blue. But, well, straight away, he clearly feels like he shouldn't be doing that. And he clearly thinks that the pink is not going to be a disturbance at all. If anything, he'll be a helping hand for him because he's about to take it into the left middle. But I would say this is not an easy shot for him to play well, because he's either going to put the distance in between the cube and the red, which is what he's done, or he had to play that shot with power. Because, of course, with little distance in between the pink and, the pocket, any shot that you play, even with a little bit of a firm grip out there, will always feel like there's plenty of power behind the ping because he hasn't got so much distance to travel. So this is why, those shots are never easy to try and play the position for. So he seems to have gone for an easier shot selection, and it cost him. As I say, I don't understand why he would be doing that. He probably wasn't down to this on this particular effect, but why would he try and take that pink away straight away? Left himself with a little bit of an awkward red to be taken, but even then, it was very much down to the red that you would have expected to be not quite a sitter, but, very much an unforced error there. This time around to be counted deservedly so. But what can we do in relation to Murphy here? He's going to be thinking about the red to be taken into the right middle. Into the right corner, I should say here, and potentially trying to cannon the pink out of the way. The red is going to be in. He's going to be on the top side of a blue, and this is exactly what Yize had to do previously. Just keep himself on the blue. Don't worry about the pink, because look at the way the pink is going to be now, preventing that cue ball from heading into those two reds. So it makes the life difficult for either one of the players, but of course it doesn't matter now, because it's down to Murphy to try and make things right there for himself. At this point, both could win and deserve to win. Now, I wouldn't say so. The man that deserves to win will eventually win, because that's the way the sport works. And then the other will have to be, well, unfortunately for him, claim the title of a loser in the final. Whether it will be down to Murphy to try and do that 4 times out of his previous 5 finals, or is he going to be first time, not quite over the finish line with Yize. Still trying to go for the black into the right corner. Needs to play for either those reds to be split up, or for the red to be taken through the right side cushion. I'm a little bit surprised that he's gone for the red to be taken into the right corner here, because I understand it's still 8 points that you can score, and of course your opponent is not going to be able to do that. But now, you are going to be looking at a line which will get that cue ball to be naturally heading towards the right side cushion, which means it's going to be heading away from the black there, which doesn't make it easy. And at the same time, still giving himself an opportunity to try and play the shot towards the black there. So has he got what he takes, as I say, in order to try and get that red to be played without getting that cue ball to be stuck on the right side cushion? Played that one with plenty of power, and still looking to try and land himself on the black to be taken. Unforced error again by Wu. Simply cannot afford this type of error. It's fortunate after this frame, it will be the mini break. Yes, that's true, but at the same time, it'll be very much down to Yize to have lost that 1 frame of a lead. And of course, he would have lost the first mini session by 3 frames to 1, and that will lead Murphy to be the man leading the charge here. But, I mean, I'm not sure about Murphy's play so far. He's got the shot to play into those reds here. How close can he get to them? The answer is not really close. I mean, it genuinely feels like, the ridiculous thing about taking that pink towards the middle of the table, it seems to have cost Yize, but now it seems to have cost Murphy too, because he wasn't able to do anything with those 2 reds next to the pink because of the pink actually being in the way. if the pink is not there, you clearly try and take that cue ball into those two reds. So, I'll tell you what, it may still prove to be such a blessing in disguise there, but as I said beforehand, I never see Yize as a player that is likely to come back when he finds himself to be 40 points down or something, whilst 51 at the table. So then, a chance now for Yize to be taking that red away, probably into the left side cushion. Make sure he's going to be quite close in relation to those two reds. Next to the pink as well. And of course, he can try and play those two reds away from each other. I mean, it's going to be looking very, very interesting for him to try and see what he's got in his mind. And just trying to get that cue ball to bounce in behind the black. It's not a bad line. And in the end, how well he's managed to put that cue ball to be pretty much in behind of those reds. As long as he hasn't left a chance to be taking one of them into the green pocket, then he'll be looking very nicely to it. But, well, he's left both of them to be available. So that's a bit of a problem, this. Well, does Murphy have what it takes to go for one more shot, which will win him the frame? If he's going to be on the collar, he's going for it. Now, does he make this one in? He doesn't. Now, where's that red going to finish? It's going to finish over the yellow pocket, is it? Well, not quite, but still very close towards the yellow pocket. Well, he played this shot with power, but in the end, it was just a little bit too far from the pocket. But he needed to make sure he played that one with power, because had the same shot and the same line would have been played with less power, that red would have been staying over the pocket. So then, back to Yize once again. If he takes the red away and he's on the collar, it's going to be very much down to a showdown for him. He takes that red away, easy on the collar. He needs to try and position himself on the brown. Look at that for a shot. Brilliant under pressure. How has he managed to find a gap there to squeeze that cue ball in between the brown and the green? That was a brilliant piece of cueing there. And now, take a bow, Yize. You find yourself to be the favourite for this frame. Once again, don't celebrate this one just yet. You know, you've got 10 shots ahead of yourself or something like that to try and make it down to 15-14. Once again in your favour. Probably has to take that cue ball down the table here off the left side. Taking that brown carefully well. And off the left side, positioning that cue ball to be on the right hand side of the table after that. So it's a really good play. And once again, a really good chance there for Yize to try and take this one away here in relation to what's going to happen with the remaining colours. At the same time right now, he's looking for the red to be taken into the left corner. Plays this one towards the black now. And leaves the cue ball to be bouncing like crazy on towards the blue. Needs to be close. Needs to be closer than this. Well, I'm not sure. Does he have the ability to try and hold this one? He doesn't really have another choice though. Because he can't be playing this one to the bowl cushion. It's going to be way too risky. He needs to just try and play this one with as little pace as possible. And he's played that well. He's played that really, really well. And look at the angle that he created for himself as well. Just about perfect. You know, straight into the heart of the pocket there for the blue. And look at how close the cue ball now is going to be to being lined up in a straight line for the red. So carefully roll this one in. And then you're going to have 7 more shots to take this frame away from Shaun Murphy. And very much put yourself to be the favourite for the match yet again. Well, I'll tell you what, so many twists and turns. But could this be the exact opposite of what happened in the previous frame? Literally the exact opposite. Now, the yellow is in. So he's going to have to be respotted again. And look at this for a shot of Shaun Murphy. Why did he not try and play it into those two reds? I mean, you can understand why, to be fair, but what he had to make sure after that next red is that he was always going to have a chance to have the angle on the black. That wasn't the case. And now he'll be down to the pink to be taken here into the right corner. Looking like 15-4 wood. Well, for now, it does seem like it, but you're never quite over until it's over. We've seen the brown to be missed from Judd Trump against John Higgins in the semi-finals. We've seen the pink to have been missed numerous times there from Higgins himself, from Jibchayanu for the match. And then he has to be coming down to the black out there. We've seen Yize to be missing out on the pink yesterday against, not yesterday, the day before, against Mark Cullen. You know, the whole thing why he created the story of that black to be missed was because, you know, Yize wasn't able to take the pink away, which was the frame ball for him. But now it's going to be the black, which won't come down to. The first time in a while, he will be down to the last black. The previous 3 times that I can remember, it was very much down to Yize to try and take on the last black. Now, can he make it 4? and get himself to be only 3 frames away from glory. He can, and it's another very important frame there for Yize, and he's going to leave the first mini session with his head held high. And Murphy, once again, finds himself to be on the wrong side of a draw, and now he will be 15 for Yize, 14 for Sean Murphy. Could have easily been the other way, but in the end, that costly miss on the reds into the green pocket allowed Yize to have a really good chance of putting that one into the yellow pocket. But what a shot that he's played into there, and still allowing himself to be on the brown with such a natural angle, dropped it for the last 10 shots and managed to be absolutely brilliant in relation to his execution. 3 more, come on, that's wild. It was absolutely wild, but it was really good there from Yize's point of view. It was very much devastating for the Sean Murphy's point of view. That still, by the way, pretty much until the end point of the match, I would say, he's going to lead Yize in relation to those total points to be scored. 1,567 for Murphy, 1,446 for Yize. I mean, how, telling that is, if you've got 15 frames from Yize, Sean Murphy's sat on 14, but, he's the one that has got 1,500 points, whereas Yize has got 1,400 of those. So it just tells you it doesn't mean anything out there, and make it down to a really good line for both Watford as well. Slightly more there with Sean, 438 in relation to 426. Of course, leaves it down to a couple of foul shots to be made. Pot success is still going to be at 87% for Yize, which is not great. But I would say, it's one thing is going to be great is that he's got 15 frames next to his name and now 14 frames next to Sean Murphy that has got 91% of a pot success to his name as well. Highest break of 109 for Murphy and highest break of 103 for Yize as well, as he now gets himself through to 15-14 of a lead. And now good steal, 1 frame advantage, not safe, but will be a booster. Well, it will be, but ultimately how much of a boost would it actually be there for him, because you still feel like there's going to be a mighty scrap out there to be had, and ultimately, well, is it going to be a little bit too much to be asking there? I feel like there's genuinely going to be some real rhythm out there to be played. For now, though, it's going to be down to an intermission, and let's try and predict this one. There is going to be 6 more frames to have played potentially if we are to go the distance. No, is it 6? I've done the maths wrong. How can it be 6? Because if it's going to be 3, oh yeah, it is going to be 6. What am I on about? Yes, 6 more frames to be played. Yize could get himself up to 18, and then of course at the same time, if it is to be 6 more frames, Sean Murphy will be sat on 17 next to his name. Probably will be the story of the tournament, but remember, Sean Murphy was still finding himself to be 13-15 behind in a race of 17 against John Higgins, and at that stage he was able to deliver with a really good performance, finding 4 frames with a bounce, and now looking to try and make it down to a decider there for Murphy, potentially to be very much on his mind. But right now his opponent is going to be on 15 frames. The frames count, which Sean Murphy has managed to find himself on so many times. The match that he's won against Stevens was 18-16. Then he's lost the final on 0-9 to Higgins by 18 frames to 9. One of the biggest defeats in recent history there. Of course, both of them have got John Higgins to be featuring. One of them as the winner, one of them as a loser to Trump in 2019. But ultimately, the first 2 frames after the break should be almost important to both. Yeah, but it would be, once again, I would say every single frame that you get yourself into the lead there, you just make sure that the pressure is slightly going to be off you. And of course, it could be down to 2 things. You relax too much, you allow your opponent to be taking charge of the game, or it could be very much down to a good opportunity to try and take it away from your opponents and very much make sure, well, I haven't got any pressure, so I may as well very much down to try and put all the pressure on my opponent. So, admin sure is starting Murphy. Not really. I feel like I don't really side with Murphy. I mean, I would expect him to win, but heading into this match, and I don't like to be changing my predictions midway through the match. I feel like that's very much boring to be doing. So I said, as I say, 18-14 would have been my prediction before the match had started. And as I say, because of the scoreline, I would change it to 18-16 if I could. But if not, I'll just stick to it. And then I'm going to be wrong already at this stage. But I'm really glad that we're seeing some, plenty of those frames to be played at the same time. I don't like Murphy at all. Well, I don't understand the people that don't like players. Just, There's probably a couple of players on the tour that I don't really like, but that's going to be down to their style of play, and I don't really understand what can you not like about someone like John Murphy. But even Selby, I mean, I wasn't really a fan of Selby coming into the past couple of seasons, but the way that he's played this season, especially in the tournaments that he's managed to win against Trump, I mean, that was brilliant. I felt like that was probably one of the top 5 performances of the whole championship, of the whole season, I would say. And yeah, certainly down to it. I feel like Murphy was... I feel like Murphy's hate comes away from him being very much, trying to speak a lot, which I understand he can't really favour everyone, but at the same time, I don't really get a problem with that. I mean, yes, he had that quarrel with Matchroom, which I thought that he was absolutely spot on with, because if you tell me I'm playing a match in 2 hours' time and I'm having a breakfast in the hotel in the Champion of Champions when he lost to Li Fan, I mean, I can't expect me to be happy. I mean, I'm having a breakfast. I just arrived yesterday from a tournament in China, I'm pretty sure it was. The other players are not going to be playing for another couple of days, because the way that the format of the Champion of Champions goes, that is going to be per group. So you could easily have put me on something like Wednesday or Thursday, but you put me on Monday in the afternoon session as well. So I absolutely understand that with Murphy. And then what else was it? It don't really seem like there's going to be plenty more about it. I mean, it does say some of the players are not really going to be saying some good stuff there, but they all say that. And once again, as I say, it's going to be very much down to Murphy's arrogant. But once again, you said that beforehand, but I can tell you again, tell me a player that is not going to be arrogant in the World Snooker Tour, and I'll tell you that it'll be very much down to, very much everyone has to be arrogant, and everyone must be arrogant, because if you're not arrogant, then you don't believe yourself to be the best. If you don't believe yourself to be the best, you don't deserve on the professional snooker tour or any sport at all, because there'll be plenty of people to tell you that you're not really good enough. So you need to be very much down to, well, I am good enough and I'm going to try and put them wrong. So any sport in the world that has managed to achieve anything in their life should be very much down to arrogance. And, I feel like Murphy probably be very much down on that list anyway, because he very rarely speaks about himself. Yes, he had, a couple of things out there. Look how Murphy reacts when other people win. Like when Zhao Xingtong wins, Murphy just reported him and question on Zhao's qualify. Don't really understand the point. And bullshit. Murphy said that many times that Ronnie is the greatest. Yeah, like I say, I mean, it's not really down to it. So, I don't really get the problem with Murphy, because you have to be a lot more specific than that. And that Xingtong thing, I don't really understand about it, because, the thing about Zhao Xingtong is, when was the last time Zhao Xingtong managed to win against Sean Murphy? He's lost him in the World Championship. He's lost him last season in the UK Championship as well. This season, I feel like he's won against him in the World Grand Prix, maybe, at the Hong Kong. But, I mean, really? The first or the second round match, you're going to report him? Maybe Ding. Yeah, to be fair, Ding and Robertson probably would be the players that stick out to me, but surely there has got to be a point there for Ding where he's going to have to be. He's so humble though, isn't he, Ding? He's such a class act, and he's genuinely like, yeah, if it wasn't for Ronnie, I would genuinely feel like you feel so sorry that he hasn't managed to make it to the World Championship to be won, and now he's got, of course, he's had Zhao Xingtong to make it to the World Championship title. Ding has managed to make the final before, though, against Selby. So I feel like Yize, until he gets those 18 frames on the board, then it'll be very much down to it. But Ding, I feel like with Ding and with players from China, they don't really need to understand how good they are. And it's not really, I would probably say it's very much a European thing to be had. Because tell me a player right now from China that would be arrogant. I mean, Yang Mingtao was arrogant. I know that for a fact. Joey Long is arrogant. I mean, I'd probably struggle to tell you another one. I mean, Si Xiaowei, Ding Zhouwei, Zhao Xingtong, Li Peifan, Wu Yize, Zhang Anda, Yuan Sijun. The list goes on. I mean, they're all pretty quiet out there, but that's just their mentality. So I wouldn't really say it's going to be down to it. So let the best player win at least. It's just very even. Well, yeah, probably down to that one as well, because I probably would say you will be left down to the last 3 frames. I wouldn't expect a decider, because you never expect a decider in the matches like this, but I would say 18 frames to 16, anyone's match for the taking, because I do think there is going to be a scoreline of 16 frames each. So that's my prediction on that one. And Now, Asian players, Chinese players, they're all very humble. That's the fact. This is what I say. I mean, Yang Mitao was different because of multiple reasons there, but I didn't really like him anyway because of the whole story, because he just always came across as a very arrogant guy there. But this is what I mean. Like, this is just my perception. I'm not saying I hate the guy or anything, but it was very much down to, you know, he was a little bit weird anyway, because you've got all the Chinese players trying to be very much in the league of their own, coming through the Dings Academy, majority of them, and still very much trying to base it on them being better than someone else and not worrying at all about who's going to play. And Meng Tao was a little bit different in that. And you felt like that maybe was something where, you know, you sort of seen the difference. Well, the skill Murphy's maybe good, but on the moral level, Murphy's so low. Yeah, but once again, he's just throwing, what's it called, bad things at him, but you don't really tell me why. You know, what Zhao Xington has said anything about him. I mean, what has he reported about him? And tell me the source that proves you that you're right. Yeah, for now, he's just throwing names around, which, you know, anyone could do. I could say I absolutely hate Luca Brissell for no reason, but I don't. Because as much as you could say that his style of play is questionable sometimes, and when he's not going to be absolutely his best, it very much could come down to him being outplayed by anyone. I mean, look at the qualifiers for the German Masters that he had against Sonny Akani. You know, didn't play well, whether it was down to health condition or not, but 2 frames in, he withdraws from the tournament. But you could have probably plenty of those stories as well. Yize, by the way, still very much winning the poll there by 67% out there. So, yeah, very much down to Yize to be still very much in the favourite. I don't think any of us really know from Murphy to judge him on his morals. He ain't Peter Ebdon. Yeah, but I tell you what, he's going to be, I'm not sure if you've done that on purpose, but he's going to be about as close to Peter Ebdon as he can be, because he literally gets coached by Peter Ebdon on so many of these things there. He's doing social media with him. He was with him at the Champions Dinner beforehand. Of course, he was, as I say, he's doing all these Instagram and TikTok videos with him as he was trying to make it towards the quarterfinal. And apparently that special break-off shot was very much done to him by Peter Ebdon as well. And so you were very much down to it as well. But yeah, well, we'll have to wait and see what's going to happen in the remainder of the match. But I would still probably say Murphy finds himself to be in a position where he is going to have control if he gets himself 1 frame ahead. Of course, for him to get himself 1 frame ahead, he'll be very much down to try and get it back to very much winning the first frame, because he can't afford to be heading 14-16 now. That is going to be the beginning of the end for Sean, because he simply can't allow to be doing that to anyone. I mean, if it's going to be Ronnie O'Sullivan against, I don't know, Li Pei Fan, just random name thrown out there, in the final, and he's got this far, and you allow him to be 2 frames clear of you, then no matter how good you are, basis of snooker, I would probably say you're genuinely going to be favouring Li Pei Fan to win that match, because he didn't get to 16 frames for no reason. Either Ronnie wasn't playing well, or, you know, it was down to him to be the better player. So if Murphy allows the same thing to be happening here, he could well find himself in loads of trouble in no time at all. So he has to be very careful trying to approach that frame over 30. Hawkins, for me, is the player being well-mannered, win or lose. Yeah, I mean, Hawkins is such a class act as well. I mean, he's genuinely brilliant. I mean, I'd really like the mentality of him, because you genuinely feel for Hawkins, even more for Ding, I would say, because of how many finals he's actually managed to be runner-up with. At least Ding managed to win so many of those ranking events, you know. Murphy, by the way, is looking to try and level things up there with Ding, because, you know, the thing about it, but Hawkins lost the World Championship to Ron in 2013. He literally just lost the UK Championship back to Trump in 24 at the end of the calendar year. Then he lost the German Masters over to Karen Wilson, and I was so happy for him to try and finally get that trophy on the board with the Welsh Open. Yes, it was against Lisowski, but what a run he had. Probably one of the most underrated tournament wins in the entire season. You know, beating the likes of Robertson, Yize, Williams in that match, so it was very much down to it as well. But it was a really, really nice, you know, class act there from Barry Hawkins. But listen, it was very much a good story for him to be written as well. You felt like at this stage, though, you will be coming down to, you know, can Murphy try and bring that experience of all the previous finals, or is it not really going to be relevant? Because probably that was down to the first couple of sessions to be very much out there. If you compare snooker to other sports, snooker players are all very humble. It depends. I wouldn't generalize it like that. I would probably say the opposite. to be honest with you, because when you've got a sport of 128 people, if you take, once again, it's very different, but yeah, but let's try and out another sport. Let's try and go for tennis, and you go for snooker there. You've got 128 players on the snooker tour trying to battle out for those tool cards on the lower end of the 64, and then you've got the top 32 trying to battle for all the seed spots. In tennis, you've got around 1,000, at least that I know, maybe 2,000 worth of players on the ATP tour on the men's side, and probably around, the same on the women's side as well. I mean, there's going to be way more competition here, because once again, it's a bit like individual sport again in Formula One. It's the best 20 that make. Yes, you could say it's going to be down to money, this, that, and the other, but ultimately the filter is going to narrow it down to 20. So I'd say the fewer spots that you have out there, the more difficult it is for you to get there, and the more difficult it is for you to be out there, the more competitive you have to get. And competitive people are pretty much never going to be humble. And as I say, you need to be looking for those very specific cases with the likes of Hawkins. Absolutely agree. With the likes of Robertson, I probably agree as well. And then Ding, yes, absolutely. Zhao Xington as well, because he really just comes away like a man who doesn't understand that he's still a world champion. He never speaks about it. The only time you hear him mention about it is that when he gets asked about it as well. So I would put him into that equation as well. Yize. But all the Chinese players, they do come across very, very nicely out there. I don't think a lot of people can name a tennis players outside of top 100. Nah, I'm pretty sure you can, but it's going to be very much down to specific players that you can do it. But at the same time, Everton 0-0, Man City 36 minutes. Well, I'll tell you what, you're going to be interested with that one. I do hope City win that one badly, though. I can't stand with Arsenal being able to win the league. As much as it is a little bit irritating with Man City, but I just can't deal with it. The defeat to Man U was bad enough, but I just hope that you will be down to Man City. The lesser of two evils, I would say. Anyway, back down to snooker. We have got a lineup on ourselves. The crowd have managed to floor their way back towards the table, and then it'll be very much down to looking to try and make it on those seats. Well, is it going to be down to those things? We'll have to wait and see for now. It will be very much down to Murphy to try and win that frame number 30, get himself back in the contention, and very much make it to the finish line there to be the race to the first of 3 frames. Whether that will be the case, we never know. Every frame is going to be different. You have to try and treat it as a different entity as well. But I would still say that will be Marco Fu's most gently. But once again, from Hong Kong, you would expect that. You would really, really do expect that as well. But yeah, we could try and do a poll of it. As I say, this is going to be the last stream for a while, so it's now going to be all down to YouTube Shorts, some of the edits to see which one of the players. There will be plenty of polls to see who do you think has been the best player. Obviously, try to keep that one down too, because I feel like Zhao Xington is going to be in the mix. Trump probably has eliminated himself, literally, out of the World Championship and out of that equation as well, because despite him winning the German Masters against John Murphy, way too many final lost. Way few of those finals that he's managed to win as well this season. Zhao, right? Yeah, but what I'm saying is he's going to be down to top 3. You can't just make it down to Zhao Xington, because it wouldn't be quite straightforward there. Because if Zhao wins the World Championship, yes, hands down, best player on the planet by a long, long mile. But it's not going to be the case. And as I say, for me, the World Championship is going to be very much equal to 3 of those ranking titles, which Yize has managed to win the International Championship against John Higgins. Thank you very much there for the donation of €5 beyond their vanishing. Murphy comes across as a big man child. He's very talented. Trump is not arrogant like Sean is, like if you agree. Well, it's down to you. I mean, he's given you the instruction. I will not like that one because I disagree, but I still very much appreciate the donation and the support as well. Now then, perfect timing for that one as well, as we're going to have Yize and Sean Murphy to come back to the table, and now he'll be very much down to one of them to be lifting that brilliant lady trophy. Sean is good fun. He has a say. I mean, I don't really understand the whole hate about Murphy. Like, I don't really get that. I promise you, I understand that he might be a little bit different than what you expect, but you can't just expect everyone to be very much living in your, sort of perfect Barbie world or something. I mean, just because he says things that you don't agree with doesn't really make him a bad player. So I do actually like players that speak a little bit, same as Trump. probably I feel like Trump is a little bit more humble with that one, but listen, it's probably going to be down to the last thing I mentioned it, because now we're about to have a 6-frame showdown to be available, but is it going to be another decider for us to see at the Crucible? We'll have to wait and see. And now looking at the red to be taken after that break-off shot for Murphy, there is a red to be taken into the right corner. At the same time, he'll be very much down to a chance for him to try and take this one away, but he's decided not to be doing that. Courtesy of 15 frames of a lead there, he would not have, he was 100% would have gone for that red had he been behind. Oh, we may have gone for that red anyway. Look at that bounce on the cue ball. It's like he'd gone off to a trampoline. And I tell you what, that's going to be heading beyond the balk line, and that's going to be a chance here. Well, it's going to be a really big chance here for the red to be taken into the corner. But he's got a real opportunity to try and make it down on the red. To be taken into the right corner. Can he try and make it on the red into the left corner instead? Because that will give him a natural angle to try and play for the ball colours. That wasn't the case at the end, as he misses out on putting that red into the corner. And still puts himself to be very much in the position of trying to go for the reds through the right side cushion. I miss you a great comment, so thank you very much. But listen, once again, let me try and finish off the things. Let us see who's going to be the winner of the World Championship. We'll sort out a couple of edits on the best players of the season, and then we'll be able to sort of go from there to see who might be doing some stuff over the summer, or you'll be just down to a break till the next season. Now, saying Murphy isn't talented when he's in the World's fight, exactly, like, he's arrogant, but he's not talented. A real talented person knows himself well. If he keeps arrogant, he will lose. He's everything. Yeah, but I mean, there's so many players, by the way, that have made it into 5 world ranking finals, isn't it? I do really like it that the likes of Jimmy White did said that, oh my God, he's so brilliant. He hasn't won a world title. Murphy, oh my God, he's so arrogant. He's so boring. He's made it to 5 world championship finals, but he still managed to win one of them. But anyway, listen, if you're going to just continue on, we're just going to block you at some stage. But for now, just move on to another topic, and we're going to have a chance here for Yize to be taking that red into the corner. Once again, I mean, it seems like that red has been knocking on the door and has been staying over the pocket for a while, but all the little players have been refusing the shot for a while. Now, has Yize got what he takes to take this one away? He does. Brilliant shot there, fantastically taken. It's still going to be on the black into the corner as well, and that is why he is going to be looking to try and get that number 16 on his board. And that was probably one of the most difficult shots that he'll have to play in the entire break there. How close that was to the side cushion. Not perfectly on the cushion though. Making sure that shot had to be played brilliantly well. And now cannoning into the red. I'm not sure that's going to be a plan, because the black is going to be getting in the way there. Can he get through to the lowest of the 2 reds? And ultimately, is he going to be able to get through to the black as well? Well, he's got a chance to be doing that. But ultimately, I wouldn't say it's easy to try and achieve that result. Well, he may have to play a shot where he basically cannons the red away from the black. Now, is that what he's done? No, he's tried to play around it. Of course, he would have had the pink anyway to be taken into the left middle, but the thing about the pink is that you don't want to be taking that colour whilst being lower than usual and lower than the straight line, because that will get the cue ball to be cannoned away from those reds, not closer to them. So then just trying to go for the black into the left corner here, making sure that he'll be able to score as many of those points as he can at the starting point here. So going for the reds into the right corner, he'll be very much coming down to the cue ball to be played off the top cushion here on the black. Once again, play that one pretty well, making sure that he is going to be lined up with a clear gap there to try and play that cue ball through the left side cushion, and make sure that probably wants to try and do that without using the cushion though itself. And thank you very much there, Faker. Let's go. Well, listen, it's very much down to that as well. If Yize does take this one away, it'll be very much down to him to try and achieve the result that he's going to be looking for as well. 147 coming up. I mean, come on. We're going to have only one of those to have ever been made, and just because he manages to put 3 reds and 3 blacks, it'll be very much down to, a red to be taken here into the corner. Now then, playing that red into the right part of the table might actually end the hopes for 147, by the way, because it's slightly too low on the red. So I feel like the natural way to try and play the next shot is going to be down to the pink. So this is your first live stream doing this World Championship. So not really in relation to You mean that like just for the world champion? Yeah, because I did have the idea of doing it when I was watching Zington against O'Sullivan and in the semi-final of last season. But I thought, you know what, I might try to do something different. And then, I tried to test it out in the Saudi Masters of Wilson against O'Sullivan in the quarterfinals. And yeah, it seemed like it went pretty well. I enjoyed it. And then, yeah, just took that one from there. And now here we are, 8 months later. Great season later as well. So many different names, so many underdog stories, this man included. I mean, came into the season being the runner-up in a couple of titles and now winner of the International Championship. Managed to get to the semis of the Master, knocking out the reigning Masters champion, by the way. Sat in the left part of this table. And very much of Shaun Murphy doing that. And still very probably one of the best players of the entire season as well. I mean, it's difficult to say because it's difficult to separate those two away from each other because down to, of course, whoever wins this one, and then he'll be very much down to it as well. Now then, looking to go for the black here once again. So he's going to be on 46 points. So once again, going for, a bit of a different kind of a break here for a 145. But, of course, he's not going to care about that one bit. If you don't know, if you don't realise, he's now just going to be playing for one more loose red. Taken into the left corner. It's difficult to say if he's got one more loose red after that one into the right corner to be taken. I probably will say that's not really the case. But at the same time, he does have a chance to try and play it on the black for the, well, pretty much alongside it that he wants to get the position off. And then try and just play it into the bunch of reds. And then if that doesn't go to plan, then he's going to have around 50 points to try and take it. Tell you what, he clearly played that on purpose to be very straight on the black here. Or has he? I mean, he'd give a little bit of a unhappy face out there. Well, what's he left himself with? Because I thought that I was doing it on purpose. Seeing something that I wasn't able to witness out there. But now, it seems like he was trying to give himself an angle. And if he hasn't got any, well, tough luck with that one. Well, he's going to be top side of it. That's not really going to help you. Because top side is always nice when you've got a shot into the middle. Not really going to have anything to do with the middle pocket here. Oh, I mean, they're showing it. The shot into the green pocket, just like the one which Murphy missed in the previous frame. Surely he doesn't dare. Now, he's going to have to try and play this one into the pack. The line looks good. Is he going to be on the red? He's going to be on one into the middle. So he gave himself an option. And is it going to be bad there? So, I tell you what, it's a lot better than taking the same red away into the green pocket out there. So then just a very careful shot that he's played into the right corner. Now, looking to try and take this one into the middle as well. That cue ball has to be played through the red and onto the black he'll go. A little bit wide, but in the end really good enough. Once again, it's a great shot there from Yize, especially in the previous one. You look how well I thought he was going to show the way that he's managed to separate those reds away with such a minute angle as well. Having so much power to drill that cue ball into the reds and in the end come out with a couple of options out there. It probably was down to a great chance here to be taken. So then the black to be played into the left corner. Make sure he's still going to have an opportunity to be taking that red away into the left corner and put it down to. And a really good opportunity here. So 62 points ahead. 83 at 10. I mean, the incredible thing is that he only had a shot on the blue once. Apart from that, he's been all going for reds and blacks here. So now once again, a little bit too much of the front jaw. Gets away with it now. And I did say Murphy could not afford to lose the first frame. Would pretty much could, but at the same time, how long does he allow Murphy to be getting himself back into the mix every single time there? Well, for now, he still finds himself in a position. Going for the black into the right corner. Play with plenty of backspin here to try and get around those reds. Now, has he got the power? He needs the power here. Just about ran out of it at the end here, but can he take the red? Which turns out to be a frame ball. Well, it's not an easy one, as I say. 70 points ahead, 75 at the table. You don't want to leave this position away because you don't really find Murphy to be in a position where he's going to have to take all the reds on blacks there. He can try and mix and match with the pink. Now, the red always missed that one by an absolute mile. Well, let's see where the red's going to finish. Has he got the cover on the brown? He doesn't. Has he got the cover on the blue? He might do that, And at the same stage, he was playing that cue ball to be very far away from the red. So, 70 points. It's not quite guaranteed to be costing him the frame there. But at the same time, it does put him in very much the driver's seat in relation to what's going to happen here. And watching it from Malaysia with cable TV. At the same photo here. Now, going for the reds. Surely he has to play this one with a cross double. No, he's looking to try and cue this one into the pocket. Is that going to be the point? Look at that for a shot by Shaun Murphy. That was absolutely brilliant. That was crisp. That was beautiful. And that is going to be one heck of a shot on the block. Look at how well he's managed to play that. No safety in mind. Clearly realizing that if he messes it up, then he'll be out of a frame and leaving himself with it all to do on the remaining couple of frames now. He plays it into the bunch. Oh, I'll tell you what. I did expect him to come out with something. Did he come out with something? It's difficult to say for now, but it's not going to be easy. It just seemed like the cue ball got stuck to those three reds. Well, can he try and play this one into the middle? But even if he can, he needs to try and push through this one, which would be a push shot, as you can guess through the name, which you're not allowed to be doing in snooker. Well, he might be coming down to a very awkward red that he has to take into the right corner. Or, of course, he's got a safety shot in mind as well. Now they're just having a walk around the table. Make sure he establishes the right shot out there. So what's he going to be? Well, he's going to be very much looking for all three ways there. Referee's following him very closely to make sure, he's not going to be committing a foul shot or anything. But at the same time, he seems to have gone for a spider selection on the red. Well, I'll tell you what, the thing about the spider is that you always take those shots away with the cue ball being close to the red that he's targeting. This one is so far away, it's genuinely difficult to judge. Well, it's a difficult shot, this. I mean, he can't play with power because of it being a spider shot, but at the same time, you probably have to be doing that. And he's missed it by a mile, and that's not a surprise. Now, bought the cue ball to be safe. Probably a little bit too safe, by the way, because he still needed to have a pretty expensive colour out of it. But at the end, Yize can have a little few out there because he still finds himself in a position of 62 points. Looking to try and go for a shot like that and making sure that he will be very much down to a shot into the left corner to be played. Whether he will be down to or not, we'll have to wait and see. For now, he'll be very much down to a red to be played into the left corner. Once again, plenty of power in behind the cue ball. Try and get that one beyond the ball colours. Does he have what he takes? No, he doesn't. Where's the cue ball going to finish? Where's the red going to finish? Or is he going to finish over the middle? He will. He will just about finish over the middle pocket. The green has gone a little bit safe, but it's still very much there for you, Shaun Murphy. And now, losing after accumulating 7 points would be a disaster for Wu. Well, it seemed like he managed to survive the first chance, but is he going to be able to survive the second one? Because this shot is nasty for Murphy, because he's going to be heading that cue ball straight into the blue, which doesn't really help his chances to try and be on the colour. So what can he do here? Basically, what he needs to try and achieve here, push that blue out of the way and be on the pink. Because he can't really play this shot with such, brilliant backspin that he's going to be playing for the blue here. And yeah, he just barges that blue out of the way. Not ideally on the pink though. Far from being ideal on the pink. Because once again, the angle that he's got on the pink will be pretty much aiming that cue ball to be heading into the red or the blue, which is not something that you want to have. And they're a very important 30th frame. So then, Murphy's got an important shot now to take this pink away into the right corner. And of course, this shot still needs to be positive there, but he's played it around nicely with backspin. And now, well, this is where the pressure is going to be at its peak for Shaun Murphy, because he can lose 3 more points, I should say, if he wants to try and win this one without a respot. But of course, when I say 3 more points, is that he's going to be in comparison to the maximum of 59. So he can use the pink 3 times, or he can try and use the pink once and then the blue once as well. So there's going to be plenty of pressure on every single time he gets back down and hits the red or the colour. And as I say, because of Yize playing that previous red with so much power, he may have put the green to be a little bit safer than he would have been on his usual spot out there. But of course, Murphy still needs to get to that point first. And it seems like he's going to be committed to taking one of those reds away into the left middle. Not the shot that you want to play for. So can he try, and there's the angle that he has, to try and get on the left-hand side of those reds and take them into the corner? Well, it's down to him, but I feel like he's got the perfect angle to try and do that. But of course, sometimes he won't have those reds to be available to be taken into the right corner. So then, how close is he going to be? So he decided to play for a shot into the middle, which clearly is a shot which you can make without issues. But at the same time, that's going to be down to, you can clearly make the shot without issues when there's not going to be plenty of pressure on this one. You have to play the shot with crispy power. He's overplayed for it. He's overplayed for the black now. Can he try and hold it for the red? Probably out of the question if he can try and do that for the middle. So he has to do that for the corner. Once again, plenty of backspin that he has to try and play the shot with, trying to cannon the blue out of the way. Has he played the shot well enough? It seemed like he has, and now it'll be very much coming down to a shot on the red to be taken. So it's a really nice play there from Murphy, still allowing himself to be in there with a chance. You know, he can afford to be playing for the blue here, whether he wants to be doing that or not. Probably does at the same time, because he wants to try and get the pink to be away for, well, I mean the blue ball spot, but of course, right now the blue ball spot will have the pink on it, because he wants to try and make sure the total clearance will be as simple as possible. And the fact that he's going to have the green and the blue to be out of position is bad enough. Having the pink to be out of position as well, maybe just taking it out of the comfort zone for him. But for now, taking that pink with plenty of backspin, playing that cue ball nicely towards the yellow, and still looking to try and make it down to 24 points of a lead for Yize. 27 points here for Sean Murphy that he's looking to try and get himself on the board with. Now, there's the broadcasting team that put the cue ball to be close to the green. In the end, he's played it close. Has he played it a little bit too close at the end stage though? He still needs a really good shot on the brown as well, which means ideally that cue ball wants to be nowhere near the side cushion. Now he's played the green well. He got the bounce of the side cushion too. Now he's going to be lined up for the brown to be taken away. The blue is slightly off its spot there. So Murphy's going to be very keen to try and have a look on what's going to happen here as well. So then, Letitia's back from training. Great news out there. And I tell you what, it doesn't seem like he's going to be heading for the midnight, but he may still be heading for 15 frames each. Because now, if he's looking for that brown to be taken, he's underrun, he's overrun, I should say, for the blue. Has he got the angle to try and bring that cue ball off the right side cushion? The angle is going to be forcing that cue ball to be heading slowly up the table, and he's managed to do some damage limitation there, but still a little bit further away from the pink that he would have liked to be. And as we know from beforehand, anything is missable at this stage. Murphy doesn't really come across as a player that will miss it, but at the same time, you know, you never quite know. 66 points, played 70. Now, I said there was so many blacks that Yize was able to win frames with. Now, Murphy's able to do that himself, and he wins the frame number 30 to make it down to a break of 65 points and get himself through to 3 points of a win in the frame. But ultimately, it doesn't matter whether you win by an inch or a mile. Winning is winning, and now Sean Murphy's finally going to be able to win his first frame on the black, and he now allows himself to be back in contention here. Yize could have easily made a break of 70 points plus. He wasn't quite able to get on that one more red. And at the end stage, he missed a couple of shots that he's played. And then he will be very much back down to, despite scoring 70 points, which usually will be very much, you know, enough for you to try and take that frame away, even with snookers. But now, it'll be a hell of a different story here, because Sean Murphy does get number 15 next to his name. And then, well, this is getting tense, this is getting close, and it is going to be first to 3 showdown, 5 more frames for us to see, and at least 3 of those will have to be played as a guarantee as well. Watchalong, don't give this one away. Can see the disappointment on Yize's face. I'll probably say you can't, but there's going to be there, because I'll be absolutely fuming if that was me. But listen, you have to try and put that behind you. You won't, but you have to try and do that. It's very much down to an opportunity that you haven't taken. Make sure you move on, and make sure you still leave yourself to be in there with a chance later on in the frame as well. Now, we're still looking at a potential opportunity to try and make it down to a showdown finale here, because as I said that it was going to be a stage where there will be a scoreline of 16 frames each. Still very much possible, but of course we'll have to see Yize and Sean Murphy to be trading frames for at least one more sequence, and then you never quite know. A showdown, a decider at the Crucible. It's going to be very much a pleasure for the crowd to be seeing that, but let's see if it actually will happen at the end stage as well. Wonderful, what a frame. We're now less than... Yes, feel free, by the way, to subscribe to the channel. I mean, this has been a perfect story out there. We could still reach the 10k exactly at the point of the World Championship to be ending, the whole season to be ending as well. So if that's not brilliant timing, then I don't know what is. Anyway, Yize now is about to take the break-off shot away from those reds, and once again looking to make sure he's not going to have any more of those reds available for Sean Murphy than he needs. And that number that he was looking for was 0. I'm not sure if he managed to get to that number, because, you know, it's down to a very close range shot on the green that he can try and take. And, well, can he get through to that red? Because if he can, he has to go for it, I would say. Because he'll be very much a natural angle to try and play for the black. Let's see if he's trying to play a safety with it. He is. So just trying to push it naturally towards the top side of the table. And we're very naive. 70 up and went for a pot. Should have played safe. Yeah, I would say he'll be down to... I mean, yeah, I agree with that, to be fair, because he probably should have put one of those reds to be safe. And he should have been working on that first and foremost because, you know, not really in a position, what is that for a shot? I mean, he needs to make sure he gets a bounce on the yellow, but, well, that's not a shot that he's played well at all. And now there still could be a chance for Murphy to try and take this red away into the left middle, but certainly into the left corner pocket. I mean, it's one of those shots there that you're going to be getting that cue ball to be far away from the reds anyway. And the only red that he can concede right now, he's going to be very much the one that he's playing for. Is he trying to cut this one into the middle, though? He's not. He's tried to play it into the corner. He's missed it. Now, how far away is that red going to go? Pretty far is the answer. And probably far enough so that Yize won't be thinking about taking that one as a long range. So once again, Murphy just, you know, whenever he comes to trying to get himself in the lead, he always has been struggling here throughout those couple of matches. But, of course, he was able to do that at this specific stage in the match against Higgins and win it 17 frames to 15. Now, I said he won't go for this long range shot because of how difficult he will be. There was a fly on the pocket out there, but he certainly didn't stop the red from coming in. I mean, that was a little bit weird. There was something on the pocket out there. Well, I mean, you know, get yourself out of there. But at the end stage, listen, it doesn't really matter because he didn't impact the shot there, but he's nowhere near to be on the black. He played that one a little bit too safe, but still a really nice long range shot. And he'll be coming down to just a single point that he has and trying to play this one safe, putting the brown on the left side cushion and now giving the turn back to Sean Murphy as well. Who wins this frame probably wins the match, but yeah, but that has been the story pretty much throughout the entire match there. I would say whoever wins the match, or whoever wins this frame is going to be a slight favourite, but you're still coming down to, you know, a potential 16-all to be very much in the equation, and then the same thing is going to be relevant once again. Although Murphy needs that cue ball to go way closer to the left side. Tell you what happened to Sean Murphy being a better safety player is going to be beyond me. He just keeps on leaving those reds to be available for Yize. Of course, the previous one wasn't really down to it. It was purely down to his great ability of making those shots to be heading into the pocket. So for now, can he try and make this one in? Go past the pink. He played that shot with plenty of power. Wow, he's managed to separate so many reds away. Easy on the yellow into the middle because that is going to be the most ridiculous shot that you've seen in the entire final. Well, how about this? How about this? I mean, this is brilliant positioning and Murphy can't believe it. I mean, he's trying to pull off a straight face, but I know for a fact if that was me, I'd be absolutely fuming. He's managed to get the best split of the pack that you would have seen in the entire tournament. That was absolute powerhouse and he's perfect. Like, he's within a centimetre of being perfect on the yellow and he's got all those reds ahead of him. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm glad I'm not Team Murphy because if I was, it'd be a really, really sad day for me because it's great. It's a great day for me in the neutral because I genuinely still hope that it will be down to 16 frames each and then whoever wins at that stage, fair play, it managed to do really well. But now it does seem like the first real chance of getting the 31st frame on the board will be very much coming down to Yize here. That's mean Yize a lot more responsible for Alan's missing. And while the reds are everywhere, well, I mean, tell you what, he certainly managed to get those reds to be everywhere now. And he's still allowing himself to be with a great chance of trying to take those colours away with the reds as well. If Wu can't take this bet, I'm off to bet. Well, the last time he said it, he managed to win 4 frames at a bounce. So I'll tell you what, if you are very much Team Yize, I know a couple of players that would have certainly gone for that strategy until the end and just watched it in the replay. But I'm never going to join that team, by the way, because I'm never a fan of watching something on the replay because I can't be asked to be watching a scoreline when I know the results, when watching the match when I know the results, and also I can't stand to be watching the match when, you know, I know that the player that I'm supporting is going to lose. You know, I'm going to tell you a story about that one in a little bit, but for now, it's down to Yize to be writing his own story here. Looking to be taking the red away into the right corner, still very carefully playing for the black into the right-hand side previously. But still, he's got such a nice shot selection on the reds to be taken into the right corner. And playing that cue ball to be taken into the red, off into the right side cushion and probably back for the blue here. He doesn't have to hesitate. You know, if he feels like he can't be holding that cue ball to be on the black, which, I mean, he's not really happy with what he's done here. I'll say he's all right here, to be fair. I mean, yes, he's straight on the blue, but if you're going to be straight on any one of those shots, he may as well be now, because you've got such a natural angle to try and get that cue ball a little bit closer to those reds, and then you're always going to have a straight line of a shot into the right corner. You know, to be taken, tries to use the entirety of the pocket and still leaves himself with a really nice and a manageable range to be taken this red away. Murphy there just getting a little bit tense, getting a little bit sweaty as well, as you can see in the forehead. Yize just seems like he's absolutely playing in a qualifier here, it would seem. But of course inside, he'll be absolutely boiling with pressure. Now then taking this red away nicely, but I mean, I thought he's played that with a little bit too much pace. Of course, had to do that so that he was going to be able to get the spin to be kicking in, but it was a fine margin of a shot there, but he's played this one about as well as he could have. Still being nice on the black to be taken. And trying to take this one away with no more pressure on himself out there. Maybe I speak too soon, therefore 5 problematic reds. Good. I mean, I'm pretty sure if you're Team Yize, you want to have a couple of those problem reds, because remember what happened in the previous frame, and what was the reason for that? Because he had all of those reds to be in the open play. I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4. He's got 4 reds in the open, which will get it down to how many points? 67 points at the table, whilst if he pots those 4 reds, which is still very much a question mark as he rattles that one in. That wasn't comfortable. Manages to bring 1 more red into the open play nicely. What's the highest break of the guy commenting? Well, the highest break of the guy commenting was achieved twice, I should say. 44 points that he's managed to score twice. You know, was really unlucky to miss out on the colour both times, by the way. I missed the blue once and I missed the black off the spot, which is down to absolute bottle job, but at the same time, it's not that bad as it could have been. Anyway, it's now down to a break of 38 points here for Yize, as he now manages to put himself on the line of taking that red away into the right corner. Well, it seemed like he was playing for the reds into the left middle to be taken here, so that's going to be very much out of the picture for now. So he needs a good rest shot, and of course he's ultimately going to be pushing that cue ball to be heading away from the right side cushion. So then try and play this one with plenty of topspin, and make sure he's going to have a chance of taking this one away. Then played really, really well. I mean, look at how much confidence he had with that one. I mean, I thought he was going to just try and float this one in and play it off the cushion at the end stage. His position of success is going to be really good here once again. You know, 86% for the 4th session for now, but once again, probably put it down to, you know, not so many shots that he's played in comparison to the session number 2, 3, and, well, session 1, to be fair. He's already managed to play pretty much identical number of shots out there. But he wasn't really doing plenty of things very much to be heading into the right direction in session 1, so that's going to be very much explaining things. So then trying to go for a shot into the left middle. Make sure he's going to be able to hold that pace away from the cue ball. Play that well. Play that really, really well. And now he's got a choice once again of going for the pink. Probably can be doing that if he feels like the angle is there, because the pink has got no chance of going back on its own spot. And he's just going to be heading back to exactly where it is right now. So the camera is focusing on the pink, but Yize is going to be focusing on the green here. Whether it feels like that's going to be down to being uncertain on the pink and his situation on the spot, or just feeling that, you know, the shot on the green will bring him a bit of a natural angle on the reds. Well, I'll tell you what, he's just about saved himself from this being an impossible shot, but it's still not a pretty one for you to be taking on. So you're better in Tolkien than snooker. Basically, yeah. Basically, yeah. Now then, taking that red away into the right corner. Play this shot with plenty of topspin and get yourself lined up with a shot into the blue. Now then, play that one with plenty of topspin. Want to say, I'm better than to play snooker for sure. Well, I mean, as an expert in that, it doesn't take a lot, I'll be honest with you. And he's just trying to make sure you don't irritate people too often out there. Seems my prediction's going to be right. 18-15 Wu wins. Well, I'll tell you what, you're a mile away from that one for now. Because if you genuinely think he's going to be able to win 3 frames, I mean, that's going to be pretty much the same as buying 1 lottery ticket and expecting to win £1,000. Pretty much far away from that one, because if you've seen the way the previous frames have gone, it'll take some real cracking from Murphy for that to be the case. For now, he's not even over the finish line in this frame here. And who wins this frame probably wins the match. In other words, grass is green and the sky is blue. Obviously, the man who's going to get himself ahead is going to be more likely to win than the man that's going to be behind. But it doesn't mean that just because you win this frame, he's going to be automatically getting himself to be very much the winner of the entire match out there. It's not quite how things work. But still, as I said, I genuinely had a picture of 57 points in my mind out there. Probably 59 to be fair, whilst he had 67 at the table. So as you said, Peter, 5 problem reds, and now will be very much down to a decent opportunity to be taking that cue ball next to the brown. Whether he's managed to get the snooker lined up or not, he now put himself into a really good position of trying to take this one away. Now the Murphy having a check to see if he's able to get through to that red, which I feel like it's not really down to the open. So then 2 hours since the match has restarted, and still very much 3 more frames guaranteed to be witnessing, this one included. Now needs to make sure he's going to be past the jaw without touching it. That was a little bit too close, but even at that stage I would say it was very unlikely to leave anything available for Yize. So at the end stage, it'll be very much down to probably a red to be taken next to the black ball spot. Try and play that one from the right hand side. And plenty of topspin on the cue ball. Just try and get it around the blue without touching it. And he's played that one well, as long as he hasn't put the red to be too close into the open play. So looking to try and get in behind the pink. Well, it's close, but I'm going to give him the edge there. I feel like he's managed to get the cover, and he has. Well, it's a really good shot there from Yize, because that was such an important shot for you to try and get cover on that red. Because you can see there's a red available for Murphy to try and take into the corner. He's so similar to the one that he's taken in the previous frame, but this one is slightly more difficult, I would say, as well. Anything about 40 is great for an amateur who doesn't train. Absolutely. I mean, it's telling me that. I mean, hand on heart, those positions were really easy, but still, there were a couple of nervous shots to be played, but this one is going to be taking the sponge and taking the prize. Now, where's the red going to finish? Because as you might have guessed, it's not going to finish in the pocket. And no matter where that red finishes, there is going to be a chance for Yize to try and go for the red. And the next color of the red will be a frame ball. Well, it's a stance. This is missable. So far, he hasn't had some great long shots under pressure. How about this one? This one is going to stay out as well. And where's the cue ball going to finish? It won't finish safe, because the red that Murphy missed is going to be always available unless you're literally going to be in behind the color. Grassy brown sky is great. It's pretty bad world that you live in. Pretty sad to be you, I would say, if that's the way the things go. But now, tell you what, there's going to be a nice little opportunity for the red to be taken into the corner. Gonna bottle this one too. Well, it was, down to that red was missable. As I say, if he wasn't the colour, it's no chance for Murphy to come back. But if he wasn't, even potting the red away, it's still going to be a little chance away out of that one. The harder it's snooker is to replace the cue ball, even if you succeed to put something next move on this table. Yes, I agree with you. I still think can beat this commentary. He can. Depends on what, though. Depends on what. If you talk about snooker, then you probably can. But you probably can't, because I'll back myself against a random person. But of course, I do actually realise I wouldn't make it past the first round of Q Tour. But I did actually think about it once. I do genuinely think if I was in a first to 10 match against someone like Watchalong, I would genuinely get 20 points across 10 frames. I don't know if that's going to be a good record, but I genuinely feel like I would. Because Watchalong would be heading for everything. And I would just be like, take 2 points away per frame. And then, I'm going to be pretty happy with that one. And now then Murphy, well, he decided not to go for that red. But has he managed to get the cover? I'll tell you what, if he hasn't got cover, you may as well go home. He can't afford to be heading for a shot like that. Wow, he hasn't got cover here. I mean, can you imagine refusing a red into the corner and then leaving the same red to be available for your opponent that only needs a red and a collar? I'll tell you what, if this is not a confidence boost, I don't know what is. Can he try and take this one away? He can. Is he on the colour? No, he's not. But ultimately, that red is super, super important. He's managed to get the black to be away. And now he'll be down to a shot to be taken for the red. Everyone in the chat is here at 147. Didn't you know? You know what? I did realise, but I was having second thoughts about it as well, John. I do think I'll have to give them the benefit of the doubt. Yeah, this position has gone very difficult now for Sean Murphy to try and take it away. Because you can see he will be down to 58 points for Yize and 59 at the table. So I mean, the black has gone safe, of course. Yize was always going to be trying to put that black safe. What do you do if you're Murphy? I mean, it's difficult to say that. Is he going to just try and, well, dig that cue ball? Or is he going to fluke a red? He's going to put the red over the corner. That is going to be frame over, it would seem, because this is a chance that Yize won't buy on eBay. This is a great opportunity to try take that red away into the corner. Make sure he's going to be positioned for the blue just to ensure Murphy won't stand a chance of coming back to the table. He already probably doesn't stand a chance with how bad the position on the black is. Asking the referee to clean the cue ball. If you support Sean Murphy, send a heart. And if you support, well, there you go. Cinematic has done it. You know, plenty of promotion in the chat there. But now just trying to take the careful blue into the left middle. Hey, Cinematic, you should have said, what about me? I mean, I don't support anyone. What should I put in there? That's not fair. You're meant to be inclusive. Anyway, it's now 64 points of elite. Make that 65, so that's going to be out of reach here for Sean Murphy. And now it'll be very much down to the blue to be taken into the green pocket. And now, can he try and make this one into the green pocket as well? For now, it doesn't really, well, there's not really going to be a whole lot matter about it, because now it'll be 22 points unsafe of Sean Murphy. And now Yize is still getting himself edging closer towards that finish line. And once again, Murphy is going to be stuck on 15 frames. I'm not saying that's the finish of the match, but remember, Stuart Bingham, 2015, 18-15 that he's lost. 2021 against Mark Selby, 18-15 that he's lost. And guess the scoreboard now, 16-15. Well, this is going to be very, very interesting to see on what's going to happen as well. Murphy claims he has a 147, a hole in the one and a 9. Yes, I've seen that, because he's done a thing on the competition with some of the darts players. And yeah, apparently he claims that one, but once again, I'll probably trust it when I see it. But honestly speaking, I wouldn't be surprised there, because he does come across as a player that does love the golf and the darts there. So, you know, probably don't feel like he knows that is going to be plenty of points about lying for that one. But I suppose for the modern society, if you can't prove it, then it's going to be very difficult to get plenty of people to be on board with you. But now, as I say, down to the last stage, it is one frame too late there for Yize, because he had 70 points in the previous frame to try and make it as well. But now, 31 frames in, 2 more to be guaranteed. And then, of course, if Sean Murphy is to be the winner, then we are bound to see 4 more frames of the action. He's all for the dart, but who knows? 180, yeah, but I've seen a clip with Sky Sports, the guy that was doing the checkings for the audio, and he's managed to flicker 180 randomly. So, I mean, if he's able to do that, then you feel like the guy that's going to be a little bit enthusiastic about darts should be able to do that as well. No more breaks, right? Well, we'll wait and see. For now, it does seem like we're going to at the end the final with just 2 centuries to be made, because at this stage, I mean, fair play if you make a century in 32nd, 33rd, 34th or 35th frames, by the way, because that's going to be absolutely brilliant, because that will be some way of trying to end it on a high out there. For now, it'll be down to Murphy to try and bring his expert break-off shot to the table. Once again, for the 3rd time in a row, he's going to try and place the cue ball to be in between the green and the brown. So trying to go for the different side there, but ultimately trying to stick with the same thing that has been working with him previously, pushing that black to be onto its own cushion out there as well. And now you'll be a chance to try and pot the red into the left corner. Once again, do you take that as a frame lead? Because it's going to be massive points that Murphy has to score to try and equal that one. Anything is missable, but so far we've seen some great shots to be played under pressure as well. He's going for this red. Can he make this one into the corner pocket? Because if he does, he'll feel like the doors are starting to close. On Sean Murphy's fluked the red. Wow. He's fluked the red and he's on the black. Just about on the black, by the way. He's not perfect, but now he's got a really good chance to try and, well, he's even thinking about taking that black away. I mean, he's fortunate to have fluked the red, because he would have been leaving plenty of options there for Sean Murphy. Well, do you go for this one now? I mean, if you could make it an instant poll, I genuinely would ask you in the chat there. But of course, by the point that I'm typing this one in, we already know the result. I personally would say you have to go for it, to me, because of how much there is at stake. You make this black, you really do have a great chance of winning the frame. So it seemed like he's playing for it. Now, and you know, in the end, he's just taken all the pace away. He's just trying to roll the cue in behind the black out there. well, at the end stage, it'll be very much down to Sean Murphy to try and come back to the table and make it very much down to a shot on the left-hand side of the placement here. So then going for the red to be taken into the left side of the table will be very much down to it as well, because I feel like if Murphy's able to take that cue ball into the right side cushion, then it's going to be down to it, but he probably needs to try and cover up those reds onto the left-hand side of the table as well. Not too sure about it, but I mean, he just needs to make sure he gets that cue ball to be somewhere in behind the green there, and if he gets the brown into the equation as well, that'll be super helpful. But for now, as I say, trying to do that with the green. Has he managed to play the shot? To me, it looks really good, because he's going to have the line of the blue and the green to be very much covering the left-hand side of the table, which would have been the more dangerous one for Yize. So still looking at those reds to be taken very much carefully with a firm edge at the right-hand side, and playing that cue ball now to be coming across to those reds. And well, this time around, of course, he hasn't managed to cover it up out there, but at the same time, I'll be down to a red to be taken into the left corner here. So then, just looking at the reds to be taken away here. Can try and take it with topspin. Be pretty decent if he does. At the same time, oh, he's going to have that cue ball to be rolling a little bit too close to the yellow pocket. Is he going to be too close at the end? It just about catches the front jaw there, and it allows him to be seeing that cue ball to stay at the table without a chance of the red into the left corner. Now then, well, I mean, there is a potential line there, which if that cue ball wasn't tied up for the ball cushion, there is a universe where Yize would have been playing this shot here. But of course, since the cue ball is going to be tied up, I felt like he's got no chance in doing that. So just going for a little bit of a plant. Let's see where the cue ball is going to finish, because it doesn't look good from the first side, and it doesn't look good from the second side. And from the first side, it's now going to be looking dreadfully bad for Yize, because you would expect Murphy to take this red away. But what can he do in relation to the colours here? Because now, if he's going to try and take this red away into the corner, allow himself to be lined up for the black as well, well, the camera suggests it'll be very much down to a backspin shot to be played. And has he played this one well enough? He has. Brilliant shot there from Sean. And now he allows himself to be getting a point on the board. But ultimately, something that Yize wasn't really lucky with, despite fluking red previously in the frame. Of course, that was positioning on the black here. But in relation to the position here in general, you know, it's very surprising to say that. But since the previous red by Yize was made into that right corner pocket, despite him aiming for the left, it has gone a lot worse than he was. And now you probably have to be counting those reds on your fingers on one hand. Probably down to 3 more that he's got available to him. And then he's going to be down to kaboom on the blue, that he can try and take that cue ball in towards those main reds. So still looking to try and make it down to a red to be taken here. Very careful in relation to that cue ball placement. And play that a little bit of topspin once again. And you want to be top side of a blue, which he just about managed to achieve there, but it would have liked to be a lot further up the table than what he's managed here. So then once again, backspin on the white. Make sure you position yourself on the right-hand side of the blue ball spot, and allowing himself to go for a shot into the left corner. So looking to try and make it down to a red to be taken into the left part of the table. Still seems like he needs to try and have another judgment call there. By the way, hope I'm not speaking too soon, but the audience have been absolutely brilliant so far. No interruptions, no stoppings that I've heard of or seen of. You know, it seems like it's all very much down to professional. And, you know, we've seen so many warnings beforehand. We've seen people kicked out because of their phones ringing. But now, surely you don't want that to be the case in the frame number 32. Frames number 33, or the frames number 34 still potentially to be available. But now, is it going to be a red that will get that part to the frame number 34 to be guaranteed for Sean Murphy here? Because now he's managed to play that shot really well. Never a fan of taking the power away from those type of shots, but he's managed to have a really good cannon there on the red. And now still allowing himself to be lined up for a couple of reds to be taken. You know, probably majority of them have been already available, to be fair to him, but at the same time, just one more red sometimes that could make the massive difference to yourself. And of course, that's going to be down to 8 more points that you can score, and your opponent is not going to be able to achieve out there. So still try and well, achieve the result on the black here to be taken into the left corner. Because it will be very much down to a shot on the cue ball, which will be heading straight into those reds. So it depends on what the outcome will be. And the outcome is not going to be too great there for Murphy. But of course, he played that with the intention of realization that if he was going to be messed up with the position, he was always going to have a red onto the left corner to be taken. Hence why he's played that very much close towards the left side of the table as well. So then a great chance of trying to roll this cue ball towards the reds. Pot that one into the left corner and make sure he's going to have a chance of playing that one for the black. A little bit too tight with the pocket. Always going to sacrifice the position on the black meanwhile. Well, you feel like he probably does need to be sending the cue ball into those reds. It's a massive shot. He needs to be digging on the cue ball. Makes the black missable. And he's made that one in. And he's played a really good shot there. As long as he's on the red, I mean, he's managed to spread those reds away really nicely away from each other, but he needs to be on one, and I'm not sure he is. I mean, he's got one into the right middle, he's got one into the left corner, but neither one of those two shots are, you know, the specific ones, which will get you to the comfort zone to be taken away. So then just looking at the reds to be taken into the right middle. If he plays that one well, then he could still be very much trying to get around the black, and then at that stage, it'll be very much down to just the finish line for yourself, and make sure you don't have any sort of problem as he tried to take that red a little bit too much of the pocket. Well, that nearly was the case, and that was the longest wait ever for Sean Murphy. Look at how close that red was. There was a little bit of firm power behind it as well, and there was a bounce of the cushion, of the jaw, I should say. It's just the thing about it is that he bounced into the pocket, which was a little bit of a relief for Murphy, because he would have been leaving this position to be wide open. Now, despite playing for the black, there would have been a red available as well. And now Murphy's looking for the black to be taken into the right corner. Once again, plenty of backspin to be played. And still looking to try and get himself lined up for the red to be taken into the right middle or into the left corner. The opportunity is going to be there for him to make a decision. Still looking to try and extend his lead of 43 points. It's one of those positions where you have to realise, you know, 59 points of a lead is not going to be good enough if you've got 59 points at the table. So he needs to just to make sure he's going to have his lead to be higher than those points remaining at the table. For now, it seems to be going pretty well. Taking another good red into the corner, being topside nicely now off the blue. To be taken into the left middle. Whoever the guy is yawning, by the way. You don't know snooker, man. Come on, surely. I know it's late. I know it's 9 o'clock in the UK. But you have to be enjoying this one. Because it's about to be very much on the verge of 32 frames to be played. And the gap right now is looking to be a lot closer than he was at the end of the previous frame. And now once again, really nice shot, top side of a blue. Getting closer there for Murphy. Name for your favourite player, Ronnie. Boring, I know, but absolutely, without a shadow of doubt, Ronnie O'Sullivan. Now then, looking at the blue to be taken into the right middle, what can he try and do with those reds? Can he avoid the contact with them? Is probably the main question, because probably left himself with a bit too much of the angle here to try and take into the reds. Or he's tried to absorb the power, and he's played that shot superbly well. And at the end stage, will be very much down to a really good chance. 1-1 City. Well, I hope that they were the ones that scored, because I can't deal with. They must win, especially as a Liverpool fan. You know, the last team I wanted to be supporting is Everton, but when you've got Man City to be chasing Arsenal, I do hope that will be very much down to them to be winning it. But once again, back on that shot from Murphy, that was brilliant, because look at how well look at the replay, look at how well he's managed to take the pace away from the cue ball. But once again, he's played those shots which I call horrific there, because he never seems to get a firm contact when you play that shot with so little power. But he always seems like he's able to find a point where he's going to be able to get those reds away from each other here. And now he's going to get himself 64 points of a lead, trying to get that black into the corner, and that will put him into a very comfortable position of this frame to be his for the taking again. And what did I say 2 frames ago? I said, my call, 16 frames each. No matter what happens ever since, all I ask for is 16 frames each. And Murphy is going to be getting closer, and he's going to be already better than what he's managed to achieve in all the 3 finals that he's lost. Away to John Higgins, away to Mark Selby, and away to Stuart Bingham as well. For now, it's going to be down to a rate to be taken and a possible of a 1-3-1 out there, because of course Murphy started with 0 points here, so he's still looking to try and pot 14 reds. And the fact that he's going for a 131 is not a bad thing either, because, of course, the thing about 14 reds, the maximum that you could score is going to be 139 points, and he's going to be only 8 points away from the maximum target. Looking to try and get the reds to be taken into the left corner. Still very much playing for the black to be taken into the right part of the table here. And as I said it literally at the starting point of a frame. If you make a century at this stage, fair play to you, because it ain't going to be easy. But for now, Murphy's about to prove me wrong on this one, because he certainly made that one look really, really simple for himself. And still, a really nice break of 96 points and counting. Can he try and make the red in, and then beelines up for the black to try and make it one of the highest breaks that we've seen, not just in the final, but ultimately in the entire tournament in general as well. Should but give credit to Murphy. Now they're playing this one off the right side cushion, still trying to get himself closer towards the line of the yellow to be taken, and he will be down to the third century of the final, the second one to be made from Shaun Murphy, and higher than anything that we've seen from Yize to be scored already, and he's about to extend that to a potential of a 1-3-1. As I said, that is not an easy thing to be doing, especially when you've got your opponent to be sat on a single point, which means that we're able to take that red away, and means that you are working with 139 points to be the maximum. Now he's only going to be 8 points away from that, and of course all of those 8 points came back to the position on the blue that he had to be taken. So 10 blacks, 4 blues, and now just looking to try and make it down to a 6 color of a clearance at the end as well. So very much the way for you to lose those 8 points was, of course, to be playing a color value of 5 instead of 7. Now then he's going to underrun slightly for the paint, so may have to take that one away towards the yellow pocket. And still, this will be now down to a potential of a 2-frame shootout. But is he going to be down to a potential of a 3-frame shootout? We'll have to wait and see. For now, the jaw is going to be in favour of Murphy, and the jaw clearly wants this one to be a total clearance. Now then, Shaun, do your thing. They call you a magician for a reason. Carefully roll the black in and get the crowd what he wants. He's played it for a double. It's going to be close. It's going to be very, very close indeed. And he's managed to take it with a double. Well, I tell you what, my grandfather certainly would appreciate that one. That was brilliant. And you can see the fans going absolutely crazy behind Shaun Murphy. Now they're going to be cheering him on there. He is very much the guy from England, and breaking news, the tournament is going to be played in England for now. So Yize, well, is he about to find himself in a little bit of a hostile environment? Because Shaun Murphy, you feel like this is the appreciation that you want to be seeing. And now he'd be very much down to a break of 131 points that gets himself over the finish line. And that's a fantastic total clearance. And what did I say about it? Well, it's going to be very much huge pressure on you to try and make it back down to oh, come on. No, shut up. Focus on the snooker. That's the only positive thing that we have in that case scenario. But as I say that, let me just very quickly have a look at the score to see if you're actually telling the truth. And that is truth. That's horrible. 74th minute. That's even worse. Anyway, back down to this one. 16 frames each. 32 frames played. Not an inch given. And what can you say about those two players? Well, it'll be back down to a decent opportunity for either one of them. But ultimately, whether it's going to be down to Yize or Shaun Murphy, this is where you have to say there's a winner and a loser. But you have to feel for the loser, because I genuinely thought this was going to be a bit one-sided because of how close the semi-finals have been, but this has been the story of the tournament. This has genuinely been the story of the tournament. So many deciders in the first to 13. There was a decider in the first to 10, and the man that managed to win that decider is still very much sat in the left corner of the table and looking to try and win a couple of frames on the bounce here. Well, he's not only playing against Murphy, but also against 99% of the spectators. Well, yeah, listen, but that's why the Chinese players would want the World Championship to be in China, because the crowd would certainly want them to win, but it's very much down to having the advantage of the walls there for yourself. For now, it'll be very much down to just 2 more frames for you to try and look for, but is it going to be as simple as it sounds? Is it going to be a matter of mistakes, or is it going to be a matter of class of the opponent and the class of the opposition as well? We're going to have to wait and see on this one, because now it surely is going to be a run towards the finish line. Best of 3 for 300,000. Yeah, exactly. Every single frame that you win at this stage is going to be down to 150,000 worth of prize money and ranking points. But of course, if you only win one of them, it means nothing. It'll be down to very much trying to win 2 of those as well. For now, very much down to leaving to try and get himself back to 2 more frames that he needs. And for now, there's going to be plenty of discussions out there in the corner of the spectators. And yeah, well, I feel like at this stage, is there going to be an advantage for the players as both of them come out to the 33rd frame very much simultaneously? Then Sean Murphy against Yize, who's going to be able to try and win the 33rd frame here to try and take it down to the 34th frame of a shootout here. For now, we're still looking at a great chance for Red to be taken into the left corner. And for now, it does seem like he'll be looking nicely to be in behind the green here for the cue ball. So still trying to send one of those Reds away to the right corner. Well, Murphy, feel like sometimes when he finds himself to be level, he always wants to try and make it down to with the first shot of the frame. Is that going to be the same thing? Come on, Sean. Well, still looking at the red to be taken into the right part of the table here. Murphy doesn't seem like he's going to fancy this one too well. Remember, you have to be committed to it. Otherwise, there's not going to be a single meaning of taking that shot at the starting point of it. And, well, the fact that he's taken this one, he can't really play a safety shot of it, especially with the way he's looking to try and cue this one in. It will be close. It will be in the pocket. He's got a double kiss on the black, and he will be perfectly lined up for the pink. And after such a good shot, you deserve a little bit of luck. And now, once again, it is down to you, Sean Murphy, to try and make it away from Yize. That wasn't perfectly straight into the heart of the pocket, but you take anything that goes your way. And you can see very, very similar in relation to attempt conceded from the break. 9 out of 16 from Murphy, 10 out of 17 for Yize. With Murphy still looking to have one more break-off shot. It could still be very much down to 10 plays 17. There was a little bit of fade on the paint, but in the end, it makes it down to the pocket, which is the most important thing. And it's now going to be down to Sean Murphy to have 7 points of a lead. Still looking to try and goal for the Reds into the left corner. Probably play for the black to be taken into the right corner as well. Now then seems to have overplayed slightly here for the black, but of course is only going to be relevant if he was trying to go for those Reds on that slightly above them, the black ball spot. Looking to try and make it down to a red to be taken now, the highest of them all. Still opening up nicely that pocket for the black to be taken. About to go back to its own spot. I'll tell you what, remember, I did say before the start of the session, 18-16 for me. And 18-16 in favour of this man. Looking to try and get those points on the board. Still trying to get the position on the black here to be sorted out. Tournament centuries, 12 for Murphy, 9 for Allen, 9 for Yize, 8 for Xiaoxington, despite being eliminated before the first to 17 stage, the one table format. It was really impressive there from Xiao, because Higgins is going to be the 5th one, and he made it all the way into the semi-finals, and he only had 5 of those centuries break to be made. But yeah, we're still looking at down to the red to be taken into the right corner. Plays that one nicely for the black now to be taken into the same pocket as well. And now this is where those points are really going to start to kick onto yourself as well. Looking to try and play that black away. Make sure you're going to be positioned for the red to be taken into the right corner as well. We've seen all those breaks to have done beforehand. Now it's just going to be a race towards the finish line. Who's going to get there first? Who's going to get to the number 17 first? Because is that going to be a little bit controversial of me to say, but I genuinely don't feel it'll be an advantage for the players. With how many finals I've seen this season, whoever seems like they're going to be just one frame away, as Murphy plays it into the pack, he's going to be really nicely on those. If he gets the black in, well, he's going to be perfectly straight on the black there. How unlucky is this? Off the left side and having to take the black away. Well, having to dig in really deep to try and avoid putting unwanted side on. Play this one well. And he's still going to have a red to be taken into the right corner as well. So still looking to try and take that red away. Make sure he's going to have a chance to play the blue into the left middle. Murphy's going to win the final. We'll see. He still needs to get 120 more points spread out across those 2 frames for him to be guaranteed to be leaving no chances away for Yize. He's got 39 in this frame though. And it doesn't seem like he's got a bad position ahead of him either. Although he's now gone to hit the shot twice and back down every single time of it. So the red is still quite far away from the right middle. So he needs to make this one right. Otherwise he could still find himself in a little bit of trouble. Playing for the ball colours. And potentially trying to hold the cube off for the blue as well. trying to use the entirety of the pocket, but he will be on the blue, which is the most important thing for him. And even though he's potentially going to be getting that cube to be further away from those reds, he does have a chance to just try and drop that one close to the left side cushion and make sure he's going to be able to see that red on the right corner that he can take. And then he'll be very much down to him to try and make things right there for himself. So then, still looking to go for that blue, taken into the left corner and get himself lined up with 45 points to be taken. Is that going to be the case? Has he got a line to be comfortable on the reds to be taken into the corner? Well, I wouldn't say he's going to be comfortable, but it does seem like he's going to be able to go for that red away. So let's have a look how close that one is going to be. So for now, 45 points of a lead, as I say. Looking to try and go for that cue ball to be sent towards the red. Carefully taken into the corner. Played through the left side cushion. Oh, he's made it. Sorry, he made a mistake. I was going to say he missed it. I was going to say he made a mistake. Whatever he was, he's now going to be stuck on 45 points for a while. But of course, the great news for Murphy is that he was playing for the colour. And you can see someone in the background certainly got plenty of money invested in this performance, because he was absolutely a lot more disappointed, at least on the face, than Shaun Murphy was at the same time. Now, can Yize cut this red in? He can't. So is he going to leave that one over the corner as well? This is where all those misses are going to start to accumulate. And this is where those 45 points are going to be so important for Shaun Murphy, because he's still coming back to the table. And this is where the nerve-wracking stuff is about to begin. Well, I'll tell you what, Yize is going to be pretty happy with the red that he missed because of how, dangerous that one would have been to try and leave it away. 3-2 Man City. Well, I'll tell you what, it's incredible what they're doing, but I'm just about to be disappointed. I mean, surely the season can't get any worse with Arsenal winning the league. Can Murphy get this red in? Can he make it into the black as well? He's gone for it. He's missed it. The red is going to cannon into the open play, but he's going to go all the way towards the left side as well. Well, 3 chances and 3 shots that he's played, and 3 of those have been a mistake. I don't know why Murphy's stuck on 45 points he should be at. Players have to breathe, missing easy pots. They weren't easy, I would say, Letitia, but at the same time, they weren't difficult, so you have to probably put it right in there in between. So still looking at those type of shots to be taken there. Murphy's still very much the man that sees Yize to be the first player to play a safety shot, so he's the one that blinks first. What can Murphy do here? Of course, he's the man that wants to try and keep a couple of reds to be safe out there, but at the same time, he wants to make sure it just doesn't just do it the Arsenal way and sit in defence. He needs to try and be the one on the front foot, try and go for that red to be taken into the corner. But in the end, he's just using that red to carefully place it onto the left side and make sure he plays a decent enough safety shot. So then Yize about to take it into the pink to be taken into the right side cushion, which, I mean, it'll be the most important thing about that shot is he'll get the red safe. And he should be positioning the cue ball to be lined up for the ball cushion as well. For now, then just looking at the paint, once again, needing to make sure he studies every single millimetre of what's going to be happening at the table. And very carefully takes that one away, but didn't really take that one carefully into the yellow. Hit that one fully in the face. Has he left a long range shot now available for Shaun Murphy? Because it's one of those shots there, which is going to be a bit of a shot to nothing, because he'll be down to the only red that he can leave is the one that he can miss out there. Because just backspin on the cue ball, stunning for the black, stunning for the pink. The same position. Could see you easily to have both of those shots available. Well, he's not going to be in a position to stun this one because he's got a chance to try and actually play this one into the part of the pocket. But he's missed the red again. Has he going to fluke it? No, he won't. Well, once again, so much drama out there. But Murphy just doesn't seem like he's got that one more shot to be taken. Well, Murphy's going to have to try and come back to his seat and acknowledge that he may have to do this one a little bit later on as well. But for now, Yize, he's looking at the red to be taken off the left side. And still looking to try and play this one away onto the open play here. So then take it very much away from the side cushion. Get himself lined up for a red to be taken into the left corner. And still probably put that one to be far enough from the side cushion so that he won't be down to the chance to be taking this one away. That's still very much a great opportunity for Shaun Murphy to try and go for the cut into the left middle to an extent. If that's going to leave the cue ball to be passing the black on the outside, certainly he's not going to be down to the greatest thing of his plans. And still looking at the red to be taken into the right side rail. Has he managed to make this one in? The cue ball is going to be close towards the green pocket though. He's going to be way too close for comfort. Is he going to drop in? In the end, he just about stops on the outside line of the pocket. But now, is there going to be a long range shot again available for Yize? Well, he feels like he's not going to fancy his chances on this one. Just trying to play it safe on the cross double. Take that cue ball around the angles. As he played this one a little bit too much into the side of the reds. So he's left the chance available for Murphy, unless the cue ball is going to go safe, and he will go safe. He'll go about as safe as he could have. How close is this going to be towards the ball cushion? Well, plenty of nerves. And that's not the shot that you want to be taking on as the man that has got 45 points of a lead. So far, he's been getting away with it. But at the same time, you'll have a chance of going for the red away into the right corner. So then plenty of topspin. And he seems to have gone for the easier shot to try and play a safety shot from. Well, has he managed to play this one well enough? I'll tell you what, if the cue ball is going to stop beyond the baulk line, it's going to be a disaster for Murphy, because you will allow Yize to try and take this red away. Plenty of backsman behind it. Yes, he can't play for the black with this angle. Yes, he does have to bridge over the yellow, but he's done those shots before. The problem is, he's never done it at the 33rd frame. Can he try and get this one in? And he has got this one in brilliantly well. Once again, making the impossible shots look super easy. And now he's going to be top side of a blue. The referee was very much keeping a very close look on the yellow. But at the end stage, it'll be a brilliant long-range shot there by Yize. And now he gets himself within a chance. Beautiful long pot indeed. 44 points of a lead there for Sean Murphy. Well, is that going to be the lead which is about to disappear? Now, looking at those reds, he's got plenty of work to do there. But if you try and take it in stages, it may not be as difficult as you might think of it at first. Now, try and make it down to a shot into the left middle. And probably leaving himself through a gap there. Not sure if there is going to be a gap, whether, in relation to, seems to have landed very straight on one of those reds, but even if he does go for that one, which he hasn't, he would have had to play for the blue. Right now, his mindset is going to be trying to stick it for the black. The red is in. How's the position the black is going to be? He's going to be pretty good. So once again, now he's going to be down to trying to remove the red next to the black. Make sure you get yourself to have the black to be available in both of the pockets to be taken. The fact that he has got the pink, surely for me, once again, like I said the last time that was the case, that's the advantage for you to try and use that. So you've got more clear air to try and make your contact with those reds, which, trust me when I tell you, there's going to be plenty of contact in between those shots. Yeah, previous were easy compared to this long, but well, tell you what, when you think about how much pressure there is going to be and how much sequence and pattern there was ever since the starting point of the session, where Murphy gets himself back to be leveling the score sheet, but every single time there, ever since it was down to 12 all, it was either Yize to be taking that lead of one frame, or he was down to Sean Murphy to bringing that one back down to no frames to separate the players. Now then, only 30 points in it, but ultimately it could also be down to exactly 30 points in it. Made that 23 as he takes the black away. Now he's overrun, underrun I should say, for two options that he's got. Can he try and squeeze past those reds to be taking them on with a straight line into the middle? Well, the simple short of it probably is no, because he would have gone for that shot beforehand. So going for a bit of a, cut there, needed into the right corner. Make sure you're going to miss that front jaw. You're never going to be missing into the back and jaw there, which is how much of the pocket is going to be opening up. So then 22 points of a lead for Sean Murphy. The gaps is about to be evaporating with great pace out there as well. The blue is about to make its way towards the right middle. And if he can get through to this red, into the middle point of the 4 pack of reds there, then he's got nothing that can stop him from winning this frame apart from the pressure. Well, he seems like he decided to be taking that shot against it, just making sure he's going to go for another one into the corner. Still looking for the black to be taken now into the right corner. Every single shot that he takes, he's going to have to try and take some proper seconds of this one. For now, for this, to find him only 9 points behind from Sean Murphy. Takes the black away nicely this time around. He's managed to play a nice shot on the red as well to be taken into the left corner. And very much looking at the red to be talking. Yeah. Make sure you get that copyright disclaimer in as well. Letitia, good stuff. Now then getting the black once again to be separated away from the cue ball into the right corner, and still getting himself through towards the finish line, because I feel like he hasn't gone for the gap in between those two reds because he feels like if he gets the top one away, and before that, of course, he'll have to get the red slowly above the two of them, then he doesn't need to be risking it. Well, or has he just decided to delay it for one more shot that he needs to take? Having one more check to see, and I've seen it beforehand, I don't need to look at it again. That red does go, but he's close, which means he needs to play this one very much into about as much as he can of the front jaw, taking that one well straight to the heart of the pocket. No need to panic. Now doesn't need too much of the angle on the blue to be taken. Still positioning himself to be taking these blue away into the left corner. And very much looking forward to try take that cue ball around the angles. Play that one carefully for the red once again to be taken into the right middle. And once again, Yize will find himself ahead in this match purely on points. But now 5 points of a lead and looking to try and make it down on the pink to be taken into the left corner. Once again, plenty of backspin to be had as he tries to get it down for the black to be taken into the right corner. So 6 points of a lead. Still looking to try and get the black to be disappearing. And get it through. The red to be taken into the right corner as well. And that will leave him with a couple of more very important shots to be played. Yellow, there is going to be a little bit of pressure on this one. But I feel like, I mean, it's difficult to say at this angle. But is that going to be a shot which will really put him under pressure? I probably feel like there is going to be an element where the yellow itself is not a problem. He's trying to get on the green from the yellow, which is going to be a problem. And, you know, feel like there is a broadcasting picture of the cue ball, but is that going to be good enough? Because, yes, that's the perfect placement on the yellow, but what are you going to be able to do with it in relation to how far away from the yellow do you have to be so that you can be playing a shot on the green? Well, has he overplayed for this one? He's opened up the angle to be closer to the yellow than he had to be. And I tell you what, this is not an easy shot by any stretch of imagination, but can he take this one away and still be on the green? I mean, if he takes this one away, he's on the green, guaranteed. But can he take this yellow away? The angle is going to be against him for the pot, but he's going to be very much in his favour for the positional success. Now, the swing is there. The yellow, is it going to be there? It will be there. Well, I'll tell you what, it seemed like he overcut that one slightly, but in the end, that was a perfect shot that he's taken. And you can see he's taken that one really, really nicely along the cushion. And remember what Neil Robertson said at the Saudi Masters, that was very much the widest pocket in the entire table. So you needed to make sure to be taking that one into the yellow pocket. But at the end stage, now we'll be down to 24 points of a lead, 22 at the table. 1 frame shootout for Yize, 2 more frames for Sean Murphy to try and win it. Otherwise, he'll be getting himself down to another final to be losing. Impressive, super impressive. Well, and I tell you what, now there's going to be plenty of pressure on whatever he does in the next frame, and he's about to enjoy those 3 more shots there because these are the last pressure 3 shots he will get until he's either going to be out of the World Championship or he's going to be very much making it down to 2 back-to-back World Champions from China. And look at that break, by the way. I said down to pressure, and Sean Murphy managed to have a break of 131 points. And I'll tell you what, Yize is going to respond with a really good break as well. 91 points to kill it down to 1 more frame than he needs. And I tell you what, there's going to be plenty of acknowledgement from the crowd as well. Yize comes back for the bathroom break. Sean Murphy just needs to try and make this one again. And once again, he wasn't able to, leave Yize on just 15 frames out there, as he has done with John Higgins. But now, he will be massive advantage for Sean Murphy. And then he will be very much down to 18-16. Yize, come on. Well, whatever you say, Fager, thank you very much for the support. Could still be down to the case, and as I said Sean Murphy is going to be able to take this one away with 18 frames to 16. I already got that one wrong. Let's see if I'm going to get the man to be winning the final to be right, because now Yize certainly has got a great ace in his hands, but whether he's going to be able to find another one, or is he going to leave that one away for Sean Murphy and leave it all down to the decider? For now, he'll be very, very close in relation to what we're about to witness. And it still does seem like this could not have been lined up any better for Yize, because now, ultimately, he is the player that only needs to win 1 more of those remaining 2 frames as well. Someone has to, so when you're a gentleman and you know your adversary cannot come back to the score, the black stays at the table. No essentially possible. Too young. Exactly, Letitia. That was pressure break. Come on, Wu. Murphy needs to win next frame. He does. And to try and leave himself with the decider, And you'll be very much down to that to be the case as well. For now, it'll be very much interesting to see on what's going to happen here in relation to what we're seeing here with Shaun Murphy and Yize. Is that going to be history in the making? And very much back down to the second youngest world champion list to be updated and Murphy to be wiped out of that list to drop down to third? Or is it going to be very much Murphy to have another incredible decider of the Crucible and make it once again very much back down to a chance to try and make it a remake of 85 Decider on the Black? If that's going to be the case, I'm here for it because, as I say, I still have got absolutely no horse in the race. You think Murphy can handle the pressure? You think Yize can handle the pressure? There's not going to be plenty of pressure on, what's he called? On Shaun Murphy now, by the way, because he still finds himself to be in a position where, he needs to win frames. When you've got nothing to lose, I feel like there's not going to be plenty of pressure on it. It's just going to be, sign of desperations out there to be creeping in. Whether that will be the case or not, I have to wait and see. For now, there's going to be plenty of chances here for Yize to try and take this chance away. For now, I still said, whoever gets onto number 17 first, for me, he doesn't win the match. I said it beforehand. And I'll say it again. This is why I said that, if it's going to be down to 17-16, sorry, I want to clarify on that one. If it's going to be one frame advantage and you only need one more frame to win, listen, that was the case in Saudi Masters. Ronnie was doing that. He wasn't able to get over the finish line. Watchalong done that against Mark Cullen. He didn't win the match. We've seen that with Trump against Jack Lisowski. That probably was the only case for me where one guy needed to try and do it and he was able to make it. 3-seated, well, on the 96th minute as well. Now then, Yize, can he make this red in? He can. Well, I certainly did not expect that to be the case. Plenty of pressure, but now he gets a point on the board and he's still going to be on the green. I tell you what, this is some way to try and eliminate those pressure talks out there, because if you take a long range like that, you're going to be able to do anything that you want in the remainder of the frame. Now he's looking very nicely to just make a decision here and looking for the green, for the yellow or for the blue to be taken on, and then he'll be very much down to, the blue to be taken into the right corner. Play the shot with plenty of power, and he seems to have played that one really well in relation to the blue to disappear. And now every single point matters, and every single pot is going to be absolutely key for yourself, especially the reds. The reds are going to be more important because the reds are the thing that dictates in how many points can your opponent score. For now, he'll be down to 139, gets that down to 131, and he gets himself through to 7 points of a break. So looking for a shot to be taken now of the black into the corner. And, still play that with a little bit of topspin. Make sure he's going to be able to separate those two reds away. This is not an easy shot. And at some stage, those shots are going to be starting to get really difficult for him. But for now, he's able to take that black away. And surely that will be so cruel, by the way, on Murphy, that he's going to be losing this match. Potentially, as I say, it's down to 60 more points. But if this is to be the chance, because the position on the red seems to be absolutely brilliant, especially if he's about to take the red away closer to the black and make it to the blue for once. But he's going to be so cruel if Murphy has played the last shot of the match, and it's going to be the only shot that he's played in that frame number 44 as well. Test of wood temperament now certainly is down to test of everything. As Steve Davis said, make sure you hold everything together, really close together, and you get yourself over the finish line. See Shaun's that break-off shot that cost him a lot. Well, it's easy to say in hindsight. For now, it cost him 18 points here in relation to Yize. And it's going to be down to a player from China to get the first chance to be over the finish line. He doesn't always end up well. Remember, Ronnie was the player that had a first chance in that decider against Neil in the Saudi Masters again. He finished up with 35 points, and Robertson was able to clear up with a really good break of his own. For now, it's looking good. It's looking better and better with every single black of those to be disappearing. It's now 26 points of a lead for Yize now to try and take it away from Shaun Murphy in the deciding point of this match. Whether it is going to be the deciding point, we'll have to wait and see. Come on tonight, almost up to 10k. Many thanks to all of us. Enjoying for more snooker drama in 2026. 2026, it's a brilliant season, by the way. on Letitia, because he'll be very much starting and ending on the same day. But yeah, lovely message there from the moderator. Thank you very much for everyone that has made the journey possible. And what a better place to finish than 10k, very much on the final day. Could still very much possible, but for now, we're probably about as far away from it as Yize is going to be from trying to make it to the finish line. And let's see who's going to get there first. So for now, I'd probably put my money on him, because he's got something like 5 minutes potentially that will get him towards the finish line. Been a pleasure. Why do you say it's cruel to Murphy now? Not over yet. Well, as I said, it will be down to if you played his last shot. I always want the player to get at least one chance there, because it's looking nice. It's looking good for Yize. 42 points of a lead. 2 reds that I can clearly see available. They'll get him down to a potential of 58 points. And at that stage, it is really going to be down to his frames to lose. For now, just taking it down to another red. Taking one shot at a time. And still very much looking forward to trying to see if there is going to be a plant of any type out there. He doesn't want to be heading into the pack of reds, because you never make it on the first time. This is, we'll get it. How many points he needs around 70, I would say, at this stage, because he's about to make, yeah, he's going to be able to be all right with 68, something like that, 68, 69. Anything higher than 67 will take him over the finish line here. But for now, he's just looking at another... Oh, he's missed the black. Wow, the black off the spot that he missed. And this is why I said anything at this stage is missable. And this is why I said for him to be in really good position, he needed to take 2 more reds and blacks away. That one was missed by a mile. And he can't believe it. Wow, that was a massive snap of the cue. Could it be another Mark Williams against John Higgins? Well, now Murphy's going to be looking at this plant of reds to be taken into the corner. Well, he hasn't been left with anything easy here. Yize clearly thought he was going to be able to take this plant away. Can Murphy do it? Or is that a genius move there from Yize to leave his opponent with a chance that he's not going to be able to take? That's not the case. And for now, he will be back down to Sean Murphy to try and put it down to even more pressure on Yize here, because now it'll be down to his race not to be over just yet. And as I said, always ask for one more chance for opponent. At least one chance at all in the deciding frame of the match. Come on, well, you can straight away see there's going to be plenty of reds, which do need a little bit of work in, but also there's going to be a red on the left side cushion trying to take that blue away. And as I thought for a second there, I thought he was going to try and play it into that red on the left side cushion. The corners are so costly, 17's all for sure. Well, is that going to be the case? I wouldn't be surprised with it, but for now, Murphy's still going to be a long way off that. And he's played a good shot on the blue, though. Trying to make it down through 2 cushions. And still making it down to a backspin shot on the red to be taken towards the black right now. The cue ball is going to be rolling towards the black. And it's 3 hours since the match has got underway for the 4th session. And it's still absolutely no clue on who's going to be very much the winner of the entire tournament. The entire season, you could argue, because both of them share one ranking title. I'm certainly there to be watching Murphy to lift his one in Cheltenham against Anthony McGill. And certainly wasn't there in the International Championship in China, where Yize was able to defeat John Higgins. But all of these trophies are not going to mean a lot. But of course, experience will mean an awful lot there, because Sean Murphy was in this position beforehand against Matthew Stevens. Yes, that one was for the win. And he finds himself to be pretty much in the opposite seat there, where he's the man that needs 2 more frames to try and win it. And he's the man trying to come back to the table whilst being 43 points down. So then looking to go for the reds into the right corner. Play that cue ball once again for the black to be taken. And he's looking really nicely to try and make the easy work to be out there and done. But he's still got 1 red to be on the black ball cushion, which I probably wouldn't count as an easy one. And then he's going to have 1 more red to be taken on the side cushion. He wants to try and deal with the red to be on the black ball cushion right now, which I'm not sure it's the right decision, by the way. Come on, snooker. Cost Allen, and now might cost Wu. Well, could still be down to this one as well. But I tell you what, he could have left himself nicer on the red. But he's taken that one well. He's taken that one really, really nicely as well. Anything is missable, especially when there's so little margin for error. Now it'll be down to a shot on the red to be leading to a shot on the black. Can he try and make it down to a shot into the reds and the pink? Oh, he doesn't want to be tied up to the red though. Can he see that red? Well, Murphy doesn't seem like he's going to give loads of things away. But the fact there's not a frustration on his face. Well, is there going to be a frustration on his face? He's looking at the top side cushion of the table for no reason. Does that mean he's unable to get past the red? 38 plays 43. It's going to be tight. Well, for me, I mean, I don't really understand why you're looking at the top side of the table if you can't get this one into the right corner. Now, he can. So the red is going to be in. And now it all comes down to those shots that he needs to play. Don't take those for granted. But ultimately, that red on the left side cushion, this could be the moment we decide whether we will be seeing a decider here in the frame number 35 to be taken as well. Or is it going to be very much down to the job to be done here and now? 44 plays 43. For now, Alan's black and Wood's black. Well, tell you what, Yize had a couple of difficult shots there to be taken in that deciding frame, but of course it was very much down to a red that he's taken here on the black. But now Shaun Murphy, what has he done here with the red? I mean, I do mean that literally. What has he done? I mean, it seemed like it's potable into the left middle, but he has left himself with a difficult shot on the black to be taken on here as well. 2 points clear. Now these are the two shots which will tell us he needs to make both of them in, which will tell us whether there is going to be a decider. The first black is missable. He's made that one in. How close he's going to be on the red. He doesn't want to be too close to the side cushion though. Ooh, I mean, that's not a nice shot for you to be leaving to yourself. And whatever Murphy does, you need to make sure you are going to have to try and play it for the back end jaw here. You can't afford to be missing one into the front jaw because that will leave a red to be very much possible. He should make this one in, and he has floated that one in nicely. So a 6 color clearance to try and make it to the finish line. He won't even need every single one of those colors as well. But for now, he finds himself 10 points clear of Yize, about to be 12 as the yellow disappears into the corner. So then 12 means that he's going to need the bow colors only, and then Yize won't stand a chance to be coming back to the table here. Well, that has been such an incredible final, and it does seem like he's got one more chapter to be written in it, one more page. But make sure you don't skip through this one, because he may have a very interesting information for you to be seeing. Now the green and then the brown to make it down to 34 frames played in the final of best of 35, and then you'll certainly come down to one more frame to be played. Murphy is looking to the top of the stage out there, whether he's looking to someone in the crowd specifically or to his corner, but he will be the brown that disappears, and now he'll be down to 17 frames each. Well, this is going to be exciting to be watching, and as I say, I haven't even got a horse in the race. I'll tell you what, if you are a fan of Shaun Murphy and Yize, fair play, because you are going to need to be very much on the edge of the seats. For now, he will be down to a really good clearance once again of 131 of 88 in the previous frame, and now he'll be down to a break of 75 points. Murphy's not going to bother about the black, and he will be down to 34 frames played on one more frame to decide the winner of this match. Who's it going to be? Shaun Murphy of England, Yize of China. Well, I tell you what, when was the last final that we've seen a decider to be played at the Crucible? Answers on the postcards there, by the way. I know there was obviously the famous in 85, Dennis Taylor that's doing the commentary, and Steve Davis that probably is looking for the rest of his hair that is left and still looking to try and see on who's going to be the winner. But Peter Ebdon against Stephen Hendry was another one that springs to mind. But when last decider World Snooker Final? That's going to be interesting to search, because I say 2002 for me of Peter Ebdon against Stephen Hendry. Is that the case? Yes, it was. Okay, so 2002, Peter Ebdon defeating Stephen Hendry. Well, Hendry never really got a chance in that match, in the deciding frame, I should say. So it was down to Peter Ebdon to have a very important break. And now Murphy's corner are going to be looking for the potential thing to be recreated as well, because Peter Ebdon is going to be certainly in the corner of Shaun Murphy out there. And now, can he try and make the history to be repeated 24 years later? Forget about 2005. He'll be very much down. Yep, that was me. Peter just nodding, saying, yep, that was certainly me, the last person that managed to win the 2002 final. I tell you what, he's going to be nervous for himself, but, wow, he's a man that has got a great steel of pressure out there. Well, what's he going to be? Surely it has to end it with a maximum now. Thank God it's his turn, Wu, to break off shot. No Sean suicide break off. Well, tell you what, snooker is really a cruel game, not for the faint-hearted. Well, I'll tell you what, you could not write this one. a blockbuster script for Netflix would be rejected because it would be too unrealistic. But this season had a bit of everything. So many deciders, home nations, 9-8, Jack Lisowski against Watchalong. Jack managed to win. Joey Long against Mark Allen. But what did I say? What did I say? I said if it's going to be 17-16, I did say I'm going to back the player that he's going to be on 16 to win it. Here you go, Sean Murphy. Because Mark Allen against Joey Long. Mark Allen was 8-7 down. He managed to come back 9-8 win. Ronnie O'Sullivan was leading by 9 frames to 8. Neil Robertson managed to come back and win that one away. Judd Trump against Jack Lisowski. I'm not sure about that one, but Lisowski managed to take it away from Trump as well with 9-8. A couple of more deciders that we've seen, but ultimately neither of them were in the final. Now it all comes down to this. So many ranking events that we've seen. Murphy managed to win one in the British Open. Yize managed to win one at the International Championship. But for now, it all comes down to potential of up to an hour or even more of snooker to be played. The crowd certainly got about as much value for the money as it was possible, because now we're about to see some real history to be made. And for now, it's Yize against Sean Murphy, the deciding frame of the very much deciding match of the championship and the entire season as well. Let this guy fall. Exactly. This is the end. Hold your breath and count to 10. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6 to 10. No. Anyway, it's still done. Just make sure that you are going to get a chance. It's all I asked for. I asked for it for Sean's favour in the previous frame. And what I'm going to ask is that all the players do get an opportunity away. If that's going to be the case, we'll have to wait and see. There's going to be a handshake in between the players. The crowd absolutely erupt in applause and appreciation for what the players have done. Now, my prediction is that I'm going to stick with Murphy. I feel like he's going to be so cruel on Yize. For now, he still very much has been leading every single frame of the fourth session. But this is where the stats go out of place, the numbers go out of place, and it'll be purely down to one man, one cue, and the cue ball to try and come to the piece. 75 points that he needs to score. If you do that, you're very likely to win the frame, but nothing is guaranteed at this stage. Let's see what's going to happen. The break-off shot is done, and it's one less shot that Yize will have to play. But honestly speaking, he has left one of those grids to be taken into the right corner. Does Murphy go for it? Well, does he absolutely? The starting frame win percentage this season, 55% for Yize, 73% for Sean Murphy. He takes that red away, and his first blood to Murphy. Now, how's his luck on the brown? It's not going to be great. It's not going to be great, unfortunately. So it's down to the yellow to be taken into the left middle. If he rolls that one in, does he have a great chance of doing it? Well, he's going to be thinking about the green as well. You have to play this one safe, as Peter Ebden will be shouting from his corner as well. But you do, seriously speaking, need to play this one safe, because every shot that you have to try and get yourself out of a snooker situation, it'll be very much down to him to try and make it out of danger zone. And for Sean, it's so stressful to watch. Indeed, now they fought till the end, no regrets to have. And I saw his mother, I think. I thought I saw his fiance. I'm pretty sure I saw his fiance Jo, so I'm not sure about that one. But snooker escape success is going to be at 63% for Yize. So what is it going to be down to? You know, I still remember I've actually seen the social media pic where, you know, his fiance was asking him, who do you want to play in the draw in the first round? And it was like, I want them all to play. And, well, how many things have changed since that point? 17 days later, so many hours later of the match as well, more than 10 hours of match play. Now we'll be down to one more frame to be played. She was a little bit too old to his fiance. Well, he may be talking about different things out there, because once again, he was down to... You mean the one that was chatting to Peter Ebden at the end of the 34th frame? Then I'm pretty sure he was his fiance, because I say, I've been following them on social media and seen plenty of them as well. So, Yize has now taken more than 70 seconds on the shot and still hasn't got a clear picture in his mind in relation to what to do right now. Whether he can see that right side or not, he'll be down to it as well. Well, looking to try and take it away towards the ball cushion here, but, well, no decision is made. 90 seconds later, he clearly wants to try and take this one from two side cushions, but easier said than done. Off the right side, then off the left. If you do that off the ball cushion, all I'm going to say is good luck, because I've got no picture in my head. Well, 1-2, he could try and get in behind of those reds, but once again, that would require such a delicate shot to be played. So off four cushions, of the bulk, of the left side, of the right side, and of in behind. He's played this one way too much power. He's played this one way too much power to be comfortable. And in the end, it will be a chance, it would seem, to Shaun Murphy to get another red into the right middle. As I said, way too much power for me. What a game, 5 AM here. Well, that was certainly worth to be staying up for. Well, it depends which party you support, but if you're neutral, fair play. And this has been an absolute joy to be seeing out there. And thank you for everyone that has tuned into the stream. Now then, the red to be taken into the right corner. Is it still going to be that chance in the previous frame, which will be the last one for Yize? Because for now, Shaun Murphy's about to make another thing right there for himself. And when he comes down to pressure, this, what an escape. I wouldn't really say that, Letitia. I'm really disappointed with that one. Because he can't be about as this bad as you give away a chance to your opponent in the decider. So he'll be now down to 7 points of a lead. But remember, 43 points was the lead for Yize in the previous frame. It meant absolutely nothing to Shaun Murphy that was able to take that one away from Yize. And for now, once again, cued this one well, but he's gonna be impacting the black massively. And, well, straight away having a look on the black. Can he try and take this one away? I mean, if he misses the black, he's very likely to be leaving the pocket to be covered up, but he doesn't really want to be taking the risk like that. Does he go for the brown here? Once again, straight away, it was never going to be easy. 8 points that he scores, 3 reds eliminated. Does he go for the black? Well, to me, he should go for the black if he feels like he's not going to be playing towards the any higher than the main pack of reds, because that could be leaving a red to the left middle, as you can see. Where does the black bot to? Into the left corner, but not for now, probably. At this point, I'll grab whoever wins. They both deserve it, absolutely. But as I say, at this point, how can you call someone a loser? Because this is what I said, there's going to be a world champion and there's going to be a loser. But how can you call someone that has gone so far ahead? And you can see there, a little bit of emotion from Shaun Murphy. He's not going to be happy with this one. But he's going to play this one into the green. So, he had his chance. He wasn't really able to use that one to full extent. Does Yize go for the long red into the corner to try and get his own chance here? Talk about pressure. How well has he queued this one? Not good at all. And where's that red going to bounce towards? Well, won't really be available unless you want to try and take that one with long range. And you'll still be very much down to Shaun Murphy to play a shot here. So, both are deserving. Doesn't matter who wins. It's true. No, it's not true. Because it does matter who wins. Because the person that wins deserves it a lot more. Because ultimately, no matter what you've done in the previous 34 frames, it all comes down to what you do here. This is where, as I said, I've been saying this, the Crucible separates the men from the boys. Now, it separates a man from a bigger man. Whether that's true or not, whether you agree with it or not, that's certainly what I'm going to stick to. And for now, we're going to have to wait and see if there is going to be one more chance for Yize, or is it going to be the second opportunity to be taken very much from Shaun Murphy's camp. Now then, take that red away into the right side rail. Make sure there's going to be plenty of power in behind the cue ball. Try and get that one in behind the green. It does look good. It does look really good for the line. And, well, that's a response from Yize. And it does have Shaun Murphy to be in trouble. How many world titles has Shaun won? Once in 2005. Exactly 21 years ago. Now they're still looking to try and make it down to a snooker escape, which, tell you what, it's really difficult for me to say on which one of those is going to be easier. 10 hours of match time to be played. Brilliant out there. Well, I'll tell you what, 2.5 per session on average. This certainly has been a little bit longer than all the previous one. Shaun was champion in 2005. Will the seniors be just one table or two? Well, I'll tell you what, if that bothers you, it doesn't bother me right now. And, well, what's it going to be on the cue ball? It'll probably be pushed towards the ball cushion. Well, it's a really nice shot there. Brilliantly taken by Shaun Murphy. And he made that one look really simple for himself. Once again, doesn't show any bit of emotion. Does show a little bit of sweat, but completely understandable. After so many very fierce competitors of frames out there to be played. Now they're looking for the red to be taken into the right corner here for Yize. Is he going to be able to take that one with plenty of power in behind the cue ball? It's difficult to say that, to be fair, but at the same time probably would back him to try and make it down to the red to be taken carefully on the right side and just make sure he's going to be able to get that cue ball to be running towards a safe place. He's sort of done that, but he needs the cue ball to be running in behind the yellow, and he has done that well on below the yellow, I should say. That's going to be really awkward for Sean Murphy to try and cue this one away. But for now, he still has left himself with a decent opportunity to be taking those shots away. Because I'll tell you what, there's going to be plenty of pressure here that we are going to be seeing ahead of ourselves. But what is it going to come down to? Sean then still coming back to the table. First crown on Yize's head. Could be. But of course, you need to have that triple crown set to be completed. For now, it's still going to be by far the biggest win of his career, the biggest win of a frame. And every single pot that he takes is probably going to be equivalent of winning a match towards that campaign in the International Championship in relation to how much he will mean. If not more than that, Sean will make it with his experience. We're still young, look, the experience to say cool, yeah. But once again, I don't really like those sort of comments because he didn't get to 17 frames for no reason, did it? And as I say, when you come so far, it's going to be, the experience is nice, but I probably would have expected for it to kick in by this stage. I'm going to stick with Murphy, but genuinely, if I was to make a prediction right now, I genuinely would say it's anyone's. And 8 points for a lead for Murphy, don't underestimate that one. But of course, the fact that he's now taken more than 75 seconds on this shot, he will be very much down to advantage to Yize here on this particular aspect. Trying to make it down to a wander around on the right side. He may have to do the same thing again on what he's done beforehand of trying to play this one very much off two cushions. Try and cannon the red in towards the left middle as well. Now, 100 seconds that he's taken on the shot. What's it going to be at the end? A very careful shot, very reserved on the power of the cue ball. Let's see, what has he left? Well, he's left that red potentially available into the left middle. So do you go for that? Or if you do you pot that one? Do you pot that one is the question, because Yize will go for the shot. The question is, does he make that one? Well, it's a little bit of a shake of the head as if to say, well, are you sure I'm going to go for it? Well, I am sure. What I've seen of you in the last couple of years, you do go for a shot like that, no matter if it's a decider or the first shot of the match for you. Is he going to be a little bit different in terms of the thinking? Well, sense something on the cue ball out there, asking the referees to clean it. Similar of the match between Paris Saint-Germain and Bayern Munich, yeah, but it's not really going to come down to, 4 frames each and then, 4 goals each, and then it's down to the 95th minute. PSG were leading 5-2, Bayern done really well to come back to 5-4. This one is going to be a whole different world and a whole different nature to be played as well. This is where one shot can mean a lot more than those 17 frames that you've played. Basically, as I say, every single shot that you make is equivalent to winning a frame. Can he make this one in? A shot off the pink spot into the left middle. Is that in? No, I was going to say no, but it is in. I thought he caught the front jaw. The red is going to be to the left middle. And look at how well he's played that one. The camera was misleading. I got that one wrong. And Yize certainly got that one right. And he will at last get himself an opportunity to try and take that one away. A very good chance here in commentary, but I feel to be neutral in commentary and not citing any player. Well, I'll tell you what. Not really, because I feel like this is what brings it to you, because for the commentary, as I say, this is not going to be commentary. This is going to be very much a watch-along, because the commentary is going to be down to mainstream, and I leave that to Hendry and co. Very much David Hendon, the likes of Neil Folds, my favourite commentator, by the way, very much to be unfazed. For me, I will always have a horse in the race, but I don't have a horse in the race here. I genuinely don't. Whether it's Yize or Sean Murphy, all I wanted is 34 frames. I didn't even want 35. The fact that I'm getting 35, I'm over the moon with that, but honestly, I couldn't tell you. I couldn't care less on who's going to win this one. I just hope for a really good snooker, and I certainly got that one with 2 portions of it as well. But it would feel very cruel for Murphy, but it'd be very cruel for Yize as well, for how well they've managed to achieve out there. So then the pink to be taken into left middle. So he's very carefully taken that one away and still positioning himself. Oh, I mean, has he played it good enough? What has he done here? What's he playing for now? Is he going to take the red away into the right corner or the one into the right middle? I mean, neither one is easy, but I'm genuinely surprised that he's taken the one into the right corner. I mean, there is going to be plenty of front jaw that he's going to be coming up at him very quickly. So then make this one in and still having to play around those reds, and for the pink, really nice shot there from Yize. So then lined up for the pink to be taken into the left corner. Sorry about manipulation. How are the reds for Yize? Well, they're not looking too bad at all. They're looking really good, I would say. There's not a single one of those reds that is on the cushion, and there's plenty of them to be in the open space as well. So now he's looking at the red to be taken into the right corner. As I said, previous record of his own was 43 points of a gap that he had. Your time now, go for it, Yize. Certainly trying to achieve that as well. 99 points at the table. Once again, just like it was with the entire match. Doesn't seem like, for now, we're going to get a lengthy decider with all the reds to be very much opened up. So it's whoever just gets these chances on the board. Now the closest one to the left side cushion was taken. He's overplayed for the pink slightly. But once again, it's another gigantic step that he's taken in taking that red away. And of course, that was one of the more difficult ones as well. He doesn't need to put all those reds. He just needs to make sure he's going to be able to have more points on the board than ultimately there is going to be remaining. Is it easy to finish from here? Naturally, if it's the first round of qualifying, yes. When it's down to the final frame of the World Championship, no. But remember, one thing I'll tell you about Yize, you had a match against Higgins for the title in Nanjing. The first frame, when he had a chance to get over the finish line, he's played really bad. The next frame, he's managed to play some brilliant snooker, and I'm pretty sure he cleared up with something like a century to be made. So then Yize, looking to still try and make it down to another red to be taken. He's done that nicely into the left corner. So for the pink to be taken into the right middle, we had a bit of a snap of the cue at the end, which suggests that he's played that one badly, but he's still nicely on the red. And the pink is certainly going to make the target as well. Who can surprise Sean, as he does put very well. Each ball is a heavy one, yes. Don't tell me he's been behind the red. How on earth has he managed to be behind the red now and behind the pink? He's asking for the pink to be respotted. Wow, that is major drama. What has he done here? Rob Spencer there just showing to Yize. What a blunder that was. Well, he's not happy with something, but he has to be unhappy with himself. He's got no chance to be getting through to that red, and he's gone so wrong for him. How on earth has he allowed this one to go so wrong? Why was he so close to the pink? And what can he do with this situation here? Well, does he go for the red into the corner? Is that going to be petulant? Well, is that going to be petulant here? Is he going to go for the red with a rare shot now into the corner? That will be some statement if he makes it. And he does make it into the corner as well. So, how's the collar position? He's going to be able to get this one in. But, well, that was tense. That was nervous. And that was really, really nicely lined up for him at the end with a rest shot. Well, I'll tell you what. If you have got the definition of pressure and performing well under it, that was the previous shot that he's played. That was some real ballsy stuff there from Yize. Because I was saying petulance, well, you can always blame it if you miss it, but if you make it, you have to absolutely praise him to the top. And now ahead by 32 points, looking to try and get closer towards those 43 that he has. And still looking to try and make it on the red to be taken into the corner. Looking to play for the pink. Taken into the left part of the table here, but at the end stage, just looking for the red to be taken into the left corner. This is the end. Hold your breath and go to bed. Well, it may be the case. But as I say, don't write off anyone just yet. You have got a chance to try and finish it off. But it all comes down to a shot like this under pressure. Can you make the pink to be heading into the right middle? Yes, he can. And every single one of those shots is going to be double the value there, it would seem. Once again, he's going to have another close interaction with the pink. Stop choking his cue. Well, what's the decision here? Well, for me, yeah, I was going to say there was massive pause out there. And now you can see the applause from the crowd. Not sure that was down to Rob Spencer or Yize, but if that pink goes onto its own spot, it's blocking the cue ball from reaching that red. And once again, that would have been the same thing over again. Well, he's on the finish line now. He's literally on the finish line. He's got around 3 more shots. And then it will be down to Yize to do the impossible. And to do that under the most bizarre circumstances. 3 shots then. Make that 2 as he gets it down to the pink. So 46 points is the lead. What can he make here? 46 ahead, 59 remaining. The red that he takes and then the collar will leave Murphy to be needing snookers. And this is going to be absolutely nail-biting stuff there for Sean. But ultimately, of course, for Yize as well, because he's the man in control of the position. What can he do? The biggest shot of his life. The pink to be taken into the left corner. He makes that one in, and he will be, for now, It's only the starting point. 53 points ahead. Make sure you get yourself in the shred in, and then you'll be down to impossible of a mission for Sean Murphy to try and recover. Now, the biggest shot of his life, and he's made that one in. Still, great sport there from Yize, and no reaction at all. Now, there's not going to be a chance for Murphy to come back. How cruel is this? I tell you what, you have to give acknowledgement to Yize, because for now, well, 60 points. He's going to have to try carry on here, Sean, but he doesn't really have a chance. Can he try and go for this red into the corner? Has he got this one in? It looks good. It looks really good. Yize has done it, everyone. And there is going to be a fist bump to the air. He has managed to make it. Back-to-back world champions from China. 69 points of a break in the decider. I tell you what, look at that reaction again from Yize. He knows he's done it. And in the end, it will be down to Yize to be writing history here. The biggest win of his life. And every single thing that he's done beforehand is going to mean absolutely nothing. Can he finish up with the century? Surely he's going to be able to try and put on a great show for the fans here. The blue to be taken out into the right middle. Surely this will now feel like an absolute jubilation out there. And it does feel like that clearance that Sean Murphy has managed to achieve against Matthew Stevens. But ultimately, this is going to be the story for Yize. You have to say commiserations to Sean. He's played really well, but at the same time, he's now going to be very much a story to be written here. Can he try and finish off with a brilliant ending of the century break, the biggest break of the entire match there for himself? Now, still looking to try and take the brown away. And then 3 more shots until we're officially... Well, the brown is going to stay, but listen to the roar of the crowd. It will be down to a break of 85, and we have got a new world champion in 2026. There is going to be a hug from Sean Murphy. He's absolutely devastated, but there's going to be plenty of sport. And tell me this man is not going to be showing class. I tell you what, everyone, Yize is the 2026 World Snooker Champion, and he could not have had a better match to show for it at the end. It is England versus China, but in the end, it is Team China that is going to be standing very much at the top of his game. And now, Yize is going to be the winner, and he's now looking to try and make it to the top of the rankings. He will be the new world number 4, but ultimately, forget about ranking points, forget about prize money. You'll be very much down to a really good opportunity. The post-match interviews are going to get kick-starting straight away. Sean Murphy's going to be devastated, but I tell you what, finish off on a high. What a season, what a match, what a tournament, what a Yize. That was brilliant. Once again, full acknowledgement to Sean Murphy, but it is, in the end, it is going to be the defeat for him. This is devastated. Nah, he's absolutely not. He can't care less, as I say. Brilliant for Sean, and even better for Yize. Absolutely brilliant for him at the end, and now he is going to be very much joining the elite club of Xiaozing. I tell you what, Ding Zhuhui is going to be having a bit of a mixed emotions with that one, but very quickly on this one, thank you for everyone that has been tuning in ever since that match with Karen Wilson against Ronnie O'Sullivan in the last stage of the Saudi Masters. We've had some fantastic 9 months of snooker to be seen, probably the best season for ages, and I'm really glad with the lineup of Yize against Sean Murphy. But at the end of, you have to say hats off to Yize. It'll be down to him to be the winner, and thank you very much for everyone that has been joining in. As I say, there'll be plenty more action for you to see in the channel. There's going to be shorts, there's going to be edits, there's going to be polls for you to see on which one of the players has been the best. But ultimately, in the insane Chinese market that fully unlocked, that will be the case. Thank you very much, Faker, for once again your support to the channel. Thank you for everyone that has been in the chat to the streams. Feel free to hit the like on the stream and subscribe to the channel. On our way to 10k. Couldn't quite finish it until the end point, but still at the end point, it will be very much down to Yize to be writing history books, and Sean Murphy, unfortunately for him, he'll be very much the 4th defeat in those finals. He's managed to win one of those though, and it will be down to those again. Once again, thanks to you for everyone, every single one of you, whether you've been to a single stream or you've been to every single one of them. Thank you for your support. Thank you for likes. Thank you for subscriptions. Thank you for donations as well. We'll be back stronger next season, and let's see what the new snooker season will bring to us, because for now, it certainly has brought some great memories that we'll never forget as fans, and let alone Yize. I mean, that will be a memory that will stick with him no matter what the rest of his career will bring. He is now the 2026 world champion, and he does it in style, making that very much two back-to-back winners from China. And as I say, he's done that really, really well, and he deserves all the praise that he can get. It was an excellent final. It was a deciding final for the first time in 24 years. Peter Ebdon is going to say some very important stuff to Shaun Murphy in his camp, because he was the man to beat Stephen Hendry. In the end, he wasn't quite meant to be for Shaun Murphy himself, but at the end stage, he'll be down to Yize to still be the man to be standing on top of the snooker world, and he's now going to be down to him to try and show the world what he can do next season. Once again, one last thank you. Stay tuned into the channel and stay tuned into the action. Thank you for everyone that has been with me on the journey. You've all been legends. Special shout out to moderators, and especially shout out to the people that have contributed to the channel as well. Thank you once again, and thanks for watching. I'll see you all later. Looking forward to the next season, but looking forward to some of the things we'll do before the start of the season as well. Thank you again, and see you later.
Cause you can't stop it from shining through. It's true, baby, let the light shine through. If you believe it's true, baby, won't you let the light shine through?